You are watching the Vodka stream.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to the Vodka stream. How we doing? I made it through another week. Hey, we made it through the first month of 2025, and it's not letting up. What the hell is going on? What is going on? We got like planes falling from the sky and all this kind of stuff. Jesus Christ. I don't know if you guys saw that, but in like Philadelphia, like the plane just fell from the sky. And of course, we had the helicopter hit another plane. Earlier this week? Oh my God. Fires over here in California. It is all just the apocalypse is happening. I'll tell you what, that's what's going on. But hey, you know what? We got some nerdy stuff to talk about, some movies to talk about and everything like that. So cheers, everybody. Hopefully you got a drink because, man, and if you, and if you don't drink, maybe you should start drinking with the way things are right now. I mean, I tell you what, cheers though. There we go. All right, let's put on the music, a little music, a little background. There we go. So hopefully you guys are doing good. Let's see who's out there. What's going on, James? What's going on? Again, sorry I spoiled. Yeah. James, he messaged me, and because I'm a big fan of Severance, but I haven't seen the latest episode. One thing, if you message somebody that you know is watching the same show, don't assume that they've seen the latest episode and just go like right in. Go like, hey, have you seen? First thing you should always say is, hey, have you seen the latest episode? First check. But it's okay, James. It's fine. But yeah, last night he was like, boom, first message is a spoiler message. And I was like, yeah, next time just go, have you seen? That's nothing. It's no big deal. Like I said, I get spoiled with shit a lot. So what's going on? Versus C thought Companion and Novocaine were the same movie because Jack Quaid. Yeah, it's crazy. Sometimes when it comes to movies, actors do more than one movie. I know it's a crazy concept there. Versus C, no, just kidding. I did see they did show the trailer to Novocaine before Companion last night during my screening. So, which I'm looking forward to Novocaine as well. Looks like that's going to be an interesting one. Seems like Jack Quaid is becoming, he's becoming a star. He's becoming a star. That Jack Quaid, son of Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan. Let's see. We got Phil. What's going on, Phil? Good to see you, my friend. We'll see you soon. Of course, Phil will be joining. Shane O, happy last day of January. I know. Geez. And it's like, it's just January's not letting up. Just craziness, all kinds of craziness. Hey, we got Miss Lisa Jackson right here. Let's get ready to rumble. Right. Good to see you, Miss Jackson. Always great to see you. We got Axel right here. What is happening, my friend? Damn it. I'm telling you, I know I'm gonna get you the just send me another reminder. I know I owe you some voice recording stuff, and like I said, just everything's going crazy right now when it comes to reality and everything like that. And I was gonna do it today, and then I totally forgot again because I got busy with other things. So sorry again. I will get that to you this weekend. Just send me a reminder. Send me a reminder, please, because I need reminders. Braden, what's happening? Can't believe people are complaining about a 3-second clip. Well, people want to complain about everything, just the way it is. Yo, what's going on, Jade? Good to see you. We got Hunter Iggy right here. Do you think James Gunn Superman does not show up for the Super Bowl? Do you think is a failure? No, it is showing up. I mean, it's technically showing up. The Super Bowl, it's not as we're not going to get a new trailer during the Super Bowl. We're going to get the Puppy Bowl. We're going to get some kind of exclusive thing when it comes to the Puppy Bowl, which I think is smart, considering that crypto is already a fan favorite and everything. So we got Anna right here. Good to see you, Anna. Hi, great to see you. And we got Mr. Trevino. Salud. Cheers, brother. Good to see you. We got Adam. What's going on? Good to see you too. We got Johnny Rampage. Happy Friday. Yeah. Friday's going pretty decent. Good evening. Hey, we got Mr. Balga right here. Of course, he'll be joining later. Do Super Bowl commercials mean anymore? Not really. I mean, face it doesn't always mean something. Most of them debut days, and even I know, right? Just something I know. Yeah, it seems like even commercials show up online before the big game now. But I mean, at the same time, I get it because it's like, yeah, they show up online, but there's a lot of people in the real world, I guess you could say, that don't even know about it. It is kind of crazy. It's a weird, I don't know. It's like our world. We have like different levels in our world. It's like I'm jacked into the Matrix. I'm jacked into this. And then, but then I'll like talk with people and be like, are you aware of this? Did you see this trailer? Did you see that? And they're like, no, I have no idea this existed. And I'm like, okay, it is pretty interesting. I see stupid ass people saying WB does not have the faith in Superman because it's not going to be at the Super Bowl, and not being at the Super Bowl doesn't mean they don't have faith in it. I mean, the Flash movie had a Super Bowl commercial and, it didn't do well at the box office. So there's no guarantees. And it's expensive to put something. Yes, you get in front of a lot of eyes, sure. But I mean, you got a movie that's not coming out till July, and you see a trailer in February. I mean, it doesn't always translate. Yeah, you want to get as many eyes as possible, but sometimes it's just not going to fully translate. You just never know. But of course, I mean, if people are saying that, these are just people that want it to fail. That's all. There's so many people that want this movie to fail. Not so many people, but a very loud part of fandom wants it to fail, for sure. So anything that they could use to weaponize. I mean, there was even the thing today that I'll talk about a little bit. Will you read? Yes, I'm going to. Yes, I'm definitely going to. Don't worry, I'm going to do that. Going to definitely read that. I still have it. I have it right there. But of course, I do have some news that I'm going to actually talk about because my February is going to be pretty crazy. It's part of the reason why. It just means WB doesn't want to pay $8 million. Exactly. And they'd rather do that because WBD owns like Animal Planet, which they're gonna put the Puppy Bowl on, and yeah, they're gonna put it on there instead. So smarter. We got the Sad Service. What's happening? I like your profile picture there. I love that movie. Really good movie. It's kind of where we're getting to right now. And even like Companion is like a version of that, which is funny. Virgil. Yes, I still read comics. Not as frequently as I used to. And I need to get back into it. And I think I will eventually. I need to put out some time to just like, I want to read all the new Absolute Universe stuff and all the new stuff that's coming out when it comes to DC. And I need to catch up on some other books too, like Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. David, I don't want Superman to fail, but the cross-eyed, well, it's not cross-eyed, it's more cockeyed. His eyes weren't like going inward. It was more outward. Yeah, but they can easily fix that. Him recently has me punching. Yeah, it's gonna be fine. If they take another look at that and realize that, yeah, maybe it looks a little wonky, I wouldn't even think that would be a quick fix, because there's still computer generated things going on there. I know James Gunn said that, no CGI in the face and the background's real. It's like, yeah, but there's still computer generated things going on. Like specifically, I think the hair is what is throwing a lot of things off too. The more I see that footage, the more I think about the hair, because, I could have swore that his hair is, yeah, I know it's like slicked back, more slicked because he's Superman as opposed to when he's Clark and he just has the mop top. But I'm just kind of going like, it just seems like the hair is not, I don't know, the hair is like not as long and it's not as flowy as it is. And probably due to the fact that maybe when they were filming that, they just like his hair wasn't blowing a lot and they just had it really slicked back. I don't know. I just think the hair had a lot to do with it too. So I don't know. It's interesting. Tony Movie Chappie D9 Neil Blomkamp fan. What do you think of Sandman being canceled because of Neil Gaiman? Yeah, but part of me goes like, would that have been canceled anyways? I don't know, like how much of a hit what it was that series already. And it's, obviously it sucks that when it comes to streaming services that these series take so long to freaking come out. For God's sakes, we're finally getting the finale, the last season of Stranger Things, season 5, and like what, season 4 came out 10 years ago. And it's kind of funny because, they're trying to do their best, and it's really hard to do a series like that when you have children. And they release that poster of like searching for 11, I don't know if you guys saw that, but Netflix released all kinds of shit yesterday. And one of them was like a poster that they put out there looking for 11, and she's 15, and it says she's 15 years old. Millie Bobby Brown is 20. She is 20 years old and she's playing a 15-year-old. It's getting to the point where it's like how Grease was. Remember Grease? Remember the movie Grease? They had like 30-year-olds playing high school students. But that's why I made the joke. I'm like, did you look in the local bar? Because she might be old enough. But that's the thing. It's like between like COVID and the writer's strike and all, and just the fact that it feels like it takes forever for sometimes these streaming shows to finally get like another season. It's just like, good Lord. But yeah, I think I don't know if it would have gotten a season 3, maybe. But yeah, the whole Neil Gaiman thing. That's the sad fact of the matter is you got the creator that is got those pretty terrible allegations, those detailed terrible allegations coming about. It's just what's going to happen. It sucks for everybody else involved. It really sucks for them. But what do you think of? Yeah, he already said that. Maybe Stranger Things should have been animated. No, poking the bear, Axel. Speaking of puppies and dogs, recently today, the Dogman movie is finally released. Yeah, some people are seeing that. Have you ever read Saga? No, I have not read Saga there. Ashvin? Have not. I've never even heard of it, so sounds like something pretty good. But go ahead and ask some more questions, guys. I'm going to go ahead and get into the topics. First thing I'm going to talk about, get it out of the way, is my full review of Companion. That's right, Companion, which came out this weekend. Cheers. From the creators of Barbarian, which I really enjoyed that movie too, which came out, 2 years ago? Very interesting movie. I only saw it once. I need to watch it again. Because that movie had me guessing the whole time. And there's a lot they could probably do more with that, which I'm kind of curious if they do more with that, because it was relatively successful. But when it comes to Companion, there's a lot more they could do. See, this is what I like. Guys. And my opinion of Companion has not changed since I saw it last night. There's not really much more I'll say, like I could say about it, how much I enjoyed it. It's probably out of the movies I saw in January, the one I enjoyed the most. So, um, and what I like about these small movies is like, and this is like, this goes, I mean, this goes back to, I mean, obviously, when you want to make like a compelling, interesting story, especially when it comes to horror or sci-fi or something like that, because this is like a horror sci-fi kind of thing. It's rated R. It's got people getting killed, and it's R rated and everything. So, but what I like about it's like, I mean, I remember Lee Winnall talked about, I think it was Lee Winnall, and I think maybe him and James Wan were talking about it. But before they got their big break with Saw, I mean, they essentially were like, hey, how can we make a horror movie, that something that's never been done? How can we make it for the least amount of budget possible? Well, let's just have it take place in a bathroom. 2 characters in a bathroom, and let's build off of there. And that's what you got to love about, especially in this world of like of just sequels, reboots, and of course, comic book movies and everything, which I'm all for that. I love it how people are just, when people like on Twitter, like for instance, yesterday on Twitter, I'm just kind of going like, somebody said like, rank these 4 movies of what you're most excited for. And it was Superman, it was Fantastic Four, it was Jurassic World, and it was Mission Impossible. And, and I'm seeing other people just going like, they're just saying like 2 of the movies and leaving out 2 others, or saying like, oh, I'm only excited for this one. And I'm like, I ended up quote tweeting it, and I ranked them. I said, Final Reckoning, I'm excited for the most, because I'm a Mission Impossible. I've been a Mission Impossible fan since the first movie. Love all the movies, and then Superman, and then Fantastic Four, and then Jurassic World Rebirth. And then I just kind of put like, yeah, I still get excited for summer blockbuster movies. It's just people are so jaded now when it comes to certain things. When it comes to just, popcorn movies. But when it comes to January and you get a movie like Companion, like I said, going back to what Lee Winnall was saying, that him and James Wan needed to make a movie, a small movie, and they could keep the budget small. And that budget was super small. And I don't even know what the budget for Companion was, but I can't imagine it was huge either. I mean, I know, like when it came to Flight Risk, I think Flight Risk was really small too. That's why they put these movies in here. And, you have like these small movies, and you just hope that they can make, they could just, obviously make double or triple their budget, and then it's a success, and they don't have to make like $500 million or something like that. And so then you have to like go, okay, how do we make a story like that? And I think Companion's really good at the fact that, okay, how can we sell this story? This is like a story about, a dude who gets a girlfriend bot. And, that's something that's going to be, a thing probably 10 years from now. Fuck, for all we know, 5 years from now. Who knows how, who knows when that whole thing's going to be coming about. But it's like, okay, we have that idea. And then, of course, the first teaser, they just kind of go like, here's what this is. You got a girl handcuffed to the dinner, to her chair at a dinner table, her hands on fire. And it's just something, it's like a quick tease. And you just go, what the hell is that? I thought that was perfect tease right there, because you start questioning like, what exactly is that? And then you get the full trailer and it shows you, oh, she's actually a robot. So then it's more intriguing, at least for me. And I know like some, a lot of people are like, well, that spoils the surprise. But at the same time, there is so much more. There's more twists and turns when it comes to Companion, that there's a whole part of the story that is not even shown at all in the trailer. There's a whole like thing that's going on that you don't even know, because they don't show it in the trailer. So, and then of course there's twists and turns when it comes to that part of the story. So they did a good job in marketing it, of just like, hey, this is a robot. She ends up killing somebody, and obviously they're in a house, and there's like a group of people, and then it's all like, how do we figure this one out? So, and they used specific shots that you totally don't even like realize where they are in the movie. And when you see where they are in the movie, you go, oh shit. So that's why I'm just like, they might have gave away like, oh yeah, she is a robot. But at the same time, there's way more to the story and twists and turns that go through the story that are very interesting. And it's layered. It kind of looks at life, because you can kind of, you sympathize with a lot of things. You realize, oh yeah, when it comes to something like these robots, it's like you realize, oh yeah, there's going to be, there's the way guys are when it comes to, and how they would actually treat a robot like that. But then you can kind of sympathize with, well, sometimes there's just like guys that just they have no skin in the game when it comes to the dating atmosphere that's out there nowadays, with apps and all this crazy stuff. And it's all crazy and weird. Hey, I'm a single guy, and it's like, I'm not sitting here. I don't get on the apps or anything like that. It just go, hey, something happens, it happens. But at the same time, it's not like I'm walking into some place and all of a sudden it's just like, hey, what's going on? I'm not doing that kind of stuff. I'm just like, hey, something happens, it happens. But I mainly just focus on, my work and shit like that. And but you could sympathize with that. So there's like a lot of layers when it comes to how things are. So I say give it a shot to Companion. It's a pretty good, it's a good movie. It's a good movie. And really enjoyed it. Like I said, January's been pretty crazy. It's definitely been pretty crazy. But one of the other things I was actually going to talk about too, and I talked about this on the members only stream, but one of the reasons why like real life has been kind of crazy for me right now is, well, guys, in 2 weeks, I'm going to be moving. That's right. I'm finally moving out of this apartment. That I've lived here for 6.5 years, which is crazy to think about. I mean, pretty much like I think I just like, when it comes to the Vodka stream, I've only done the Vodka stream here in Film Junkie. Everything's been like here, a lot of things here, but yeah, I'm finally moving out of my apartment and moving a couple towns down into a house that I'm going to be sharing with my brother that he got. And I know it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to have, shacking up with the brother and stuff like that, but it's not going to be a bad thing. I mean, we're good. And it's a lot of space. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-story house that we're moving into that's been totally redone. And, there's all the details when it comes to that. Basically, it's, when it comes to his in-laws, my nephew's grandparents, they own the house. And there's like a whole thing when it comes to that, but they said, hey, you guys can have this for, for a couple of years or so like that. So basically, we're going to be moving in and there's like plenty of space. I'm going to be, he's going to get the master bedroom. I'm renting out 2 of the rooms. One's going to be for office and studio, which is kind of crazy because this is how big the place is my living room is just a little bit bigger than the room I'm going to be in for this. So it's pretty great. And like I said, it's all newly redone, nicer neighborhood, nicer town. So, and cheaper rent. That's the thing, when it comes to California, my God. And yeah, so both of us are just like, yeah, why not? It's going to be cheaper rent for, it seems like both of us, cheaper for everything, cheaper bills and everything like that. And we won't be in each other's hair because there's plenty of space. So yeah, guys, it's going to be, no assholes with motorcycles and everything like that. Yeah, no neighbors that think I'm probably crazy and thinking I'm talking to myself all the time. But yeah, so in 2 weeks, I'm, everything's already like kicking into gear with everything. So that's why it's been kind of crazy in real life. But yeah, in 2 weeks, we're going to be fully moving everything. I don't have too much things, too many big things. I got couches, a bed, and a dining room table, and other than that, it's not going to be much. So I think like probably in 2 weeks, I'll have my last Vodka stream here. So 2 Fridays from now, I'll have my last Vodka stream in this apartment, which is kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy to think about. So yeah, cheers to that. So yeah, the plan is to only be there for about 2-3 years, until I go on to the next thing. But, like I said, it's going to just be a step where you save a little bit of money, get into a better location, and hopefully should be a-okay. So yeah, looking forward to that. So that's part of some news that were happening. But back to the craziness that has been everything. Well, I wanted to show you guys this too. Wanted to show you guys this. No, it's not going to be permanent, Virgil. No, I'm not going to live with my brother for the rest of my life. Are you kidding me? No, it's just one of those things where it's just he needs to get out where he's at. I need to get out where I'm at. And, it's just, that's all. That's what it is. That's what it is. So, but like I said, it's going to be, just going to work my ass off. And then maybe I'll get out of California. I don't know. That's always been the plan right there. But I did want to show you guys this. And let me turn off the music for a little bit. So you guys know that DC Fanimated, the DC Fanimated stream. Obviously, Scott and I have been doing that for about 3.5, almost 4 years. It started off with just like Batman the Animated series. We just wanted to talk about that. Well, and then of course we went into Superman the Animated series. So with each animated series that we've watched, we've always had like a new intro. We had the one that was like Batman the Animated series, and then when it came to us talking about Superman, I hit up Mr. Alessandro Mask of Shy, who created like the drawings and and helped do the intros for those. But last week we wrapped up Batman the Animated series, so no longer will we be talking about Batman the Animated series because there's no more. Obviously, we're going to be still talking about Batman things, but we started talking about Batman Beyond, and we talked about the first episode of Batman Beyond, and sadly he didn't get the intro done for the first episode, which is fine, no big deal. I was like, take your time and everything, but he did complete the new DC Fanimated intro for Batman Beyond, and this is his best intro he's done so far. So I wanted to show you guys just in case you didn't see it. I did post it on the channel and I posted it on my Twitter, but I wanted to just in case you hadn't seen it. But this is pretty badass right here. He really outdone himself. So here it is right here. Yes, badass right there. So there you go. There's the new intro right there. Yeah, he sent me that today. I was like, dude, you outdid yourself. He outdid himself with that one right there. So there's the new one right there I don't know. We're going to get we'll have some other intros too, probably, because we'll be talking about other animated series. But I basically was like, hey, I don't know if you know the Batman Beyond intro. Here it is. Make me Terry and make Scott Bruce. And that's what he did. So pretty badass right there. Pretty freaking sweet. So yeah. Good on him for doing that. So what else do I want to talk about? Yeah, everything was crazy. Obviously, we got Fantastic Four trailer is going to be showing up apparently on Tuesday. Fantastic Four trailer on Tuesday, apparently, which makes sense. February 4th. So F4. Pretty good. Pretty good stuff. Did you guys see what's happening with all the Emilia Perez? Okay, so the Emilia Perez drama, again, this shit, this stuff's, there's going to be more interesting than the Oscars themselves, because Emilia Perez, you guys saw my first reaction, and then I talked about it on a Film Junkie Live. I watched it. It was like basically my first, I watched The Substance. When it comes to Best Pictures, I always like to watch the Best Picture nominations, and I've seen The Substance, really loved it. It was one of my favorite movies of last year. And then I was like, all right, well, I'm going to watch Emilia Perez because it is on Netflix. And, there's a lot of controversy behind it because a lot of people are going, why is this nominated? And, I read off certain things of why it's controversial. French director who doesn't speak really English or Spanish, didn't feel like he needed to know a lot about Mexican culture. Obviously, Zoe Saldana is playing a Mexican character, and she's not Mexican. She's Puerto Rican and Dominican. Selena Gomez is like part Mexican and Italian, I think, like that, and her Spanish, and the accents were crazy. And then, of course, you have Well, you have Carla Sofia Gascon, who who is like the main, who is the transgender actress, and yeah, it's not been a good week for her because a lot of people have been digging up some of her old tweets that have come off as racist, Islamophobic, all this kind of stuff, and she's been deleting all that stuff, and then she decided to delete a lot of her tweets and everything, and then she just deleted her Twitter altogether. It's like, all right, it's a little too late because everything on the internet lives forever. No matter what you do, screenshots. It's been a fucking mess to the point where those 13 nominations probably won't get jack shit now. And she got nominated, but now she might, I don't know if they could denominate her because there's this like, well, first off, this was the first one I saw today, which was pretty interesting. Check this one out. She's not too fond of her co-star because she tweeted this out right here about Selena Gomez. She's a rat. She's a rich rat who plays the poor bastard when she can and will never stop bothering her ex-boyfriend and his wife. What? Yikes. This was in 2022. They probably started filming Emilia Perez probably, I mean, I'm assuming most of the filming, yeah, probably in 2023, so probably not even a year later. She said that about Selena Gomez. Now, you guys heard what I think Selena Gomez is. I've never seen a fascination with her. Of course, I talked about her crying video, which I'm like, perfectly okay to feel sympathy for what's happening when it comes to deportation, stuff like that. But she made it all about herself. She's worth over $1 billion. She can really make a difference, but she chose not to. She chose to make this whole thing about herself and post a crying video on social media. I mean, I think she has some issues. And I remember I forgot that she was actually with Justin Bieber, and there was always like stuff when it came to that. Totally forgot about that. But that was just kind of funny. I was like, wow, really? But then here's the biggest one, guys. Here's the biggest one that people were passing around. And this is pretty crazy. So translated, this is the same old story. Black slaves and women in the kitchen. But it is my opinion, and it must be respected. I do not understand so much World War against Hitler. He simply had his opinion of the Jews. Well, that's how the world goes. What? She defended Hitler? Are you kidding me? Oh my God. What? What in the actual F? What in the actual F?
Oh, great Odin's raven.
Seriously. So there are so many tweets, and that's just some of them. But that one was the whole thing. That was the biggest one right there. And then, of course, she released a statement saying, like, there's a lot of misinformation. I had to delete all this stuff because I had to protect me and my family and blah, blah, blah. I'm like seriously, like, you posted stuff. Like, you posted it. It was very, like, what the hell? It's just kind of funny because, she wasn't known yet. So she didn't have that big of an audience looking at her tweets and things. And so then now, boom, she blows up and this movie blows up and then people start digging. And this is what they find. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Okay. Kind of wondering how Selena Gomez feels. Zoe Saldana was just at I think somewhere in London or whatever at the UK or whatever at some kind of a screening for Amelia Perez. She was the only one there out of the 3 actresses. Yeah, Selena Gomez probably, couldn't make it. She probably had too much stuff to do. She's too busy, crying in videos. No, but and then so Zoe Saldana had to be, of course, she had to be put on the spot, and they were like, well, how do you feel about that? And she was like, well, obviously she doesn't agree with it. She doesn't support all that, and she was saddened by all that. But this is a total disaster because, again, the movie is not good. It's not good. It had potential being good. Full-on story could have been good, but the musical element was done so bad. And then, of course, not having, at least when it came to, certain, main stars, not having actual Mexican actors who can actually sound authentically speaking Spanish, being your stars, that was an issue. But yeah, it's all pretty crazy. It's all turning into a disaster when it comes to Emilia Perez. So it's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, that was part of what was happening today. It was like, holy crap. No good. And yeah. So yeah, we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when it comes to all that. It really is going to be interesting to see what happens when it comes to all that. But yeah, other than that, not really much else. Not really much else when it comes to anything. Well, okay, there's one other thing. One other thing I wanted to talk about before we start getting people in here. Because obviously, when it comes to, of course, the Superman footage that we got, and it's kind of funny because it feels like it feels like it happened like two or 3 weeks ago. The Superman footage of him flying that's been controversial for people, and I've talked about it ad nauseum. Now I talked about it on both Film Junkie lives. And now I'm talk about it again. I'm gonna keep on talking about it, and then of course talk about it with the panel and get what everybody else, their opinions about it. And of course we know that when it comes to that Superman footage, yeah, it seems like something's just a little off. At least for me, it's a little off. I know some people are just going to town with it, and it's been kind of a disaster. And then I mentioned on Wednesday's Film Junkie Live that there's other people out there who are creators themselves, who I've noticed that, man, when if they just express like, hey, I think it looks fine, I'm looking forward to this, that their mentions are swarmed with militant fans, not fans of Superman, but more fans of just one particular Superman. So, and I even said myself, and I still stick to this, that, a decade ago, I was defending a director and his Superman, which was Zack Snyder and Henry Cavill, and will always defend that version and everything like that. But now here I am defending another director and his Superman because, well, first off, I haven't seen it yet. And, from what I've seen, yeah, I've had my criticisms, but at the same time, not enough to make me go like, well, this is just going to be a shit sandwich. So, and then I've seen some other voices out there starting to let their voices be known when it comes to this. Like Brandon Davis was one of them. And, he posted a video, and then people went after him, and then stuff like that. But I mean, there was one in particular voice I wanted to talk about, and that's Robert Meyer Burnett. And Robert Meyer Burnett, he's actually been on the Vodka stream. We had a great conversation. I've actually met him in real life, and I accidentally called him Mark. That's right, I called him Mark because I was thinking about Mark Burnett. I don't know why. He was at the same movie theater that I was, and I was sitting with my dad. I forgot what movie. Oh, we were seeing Alien Romulus. And saw him, and I called him. I was like, Mark. And he was all, Robert. I was like, shit. Yeah, kind of like an embarrassing situation. But, yeah, so he had some tweets. He did have some tweets when it came to comparing things to Man of Steel and Superman that I kind of wanted to talk about. So the first thing that he talked about was mainly like he dropped a Forbes article. There's like a Forbes article that he dropped that kind of broke down the box office of BVS that he dropped, at first. And he was just like, just had to kind of break it down. And I was like, all right, that's cool. It's fine. The dude's worked in the business. He's worked in the business, so he knows how to break stuff down. Now, BVS was successful for sure. I mean, of course, I think that obviously Warner Brothers, and if you think about a movie where Batman and Superman are fighting, you would think like, oh, that's $1 billion idea. No doubt that it does not win $1 billion. But at the same time, it just depends on how you approach it. And the way Zach wanted to approach it was like, okay, this is going to be a sequel to Man of Steel. It's not going to be like happy-go-lucky. This is going to be a serious movie. It's going to be a dark movie. And we're going to have some serious subjects that go into it. Now, the general audience was not ready for that. So that's why you do see that significant box office drop the second weekend. And then, of course, you see that Forbes article. It kind of breaks it all down when it comes to all that stuff. And then it goes like, yeah, he was successful, but not as much as people think. So, you know, obviously it's like one of those things. It's like, yeah, you can go into the whole logistics of that. Sure, fine. But then he kept going with it. And where is the, I got to find these, some of the tweets. So there was that article right now, do not understand. So there's that whole thing. And then let's see, keep going. Where was some of this stuff? Like, cause he had a lot of stuff in between it. He goes, I'm retweeting myself because, yeah, I always respected blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then he kind of talked about how basically he said like the reason why Zack Snyder's Man of Steel trilogy underperformed. I say this as a fan. He was a fan of it. I think we even talked about it too when he was on here. There is no joy in those films. There's no humor. There is no warmth. There's relentless. They're relentlessly pretentious. They needed Superman on a roof with Lois, knowing her underwear is pink. Seriously, interesting to talk about that. So when it comes to Man of Steel, okay. So when I look at the trilogy, I kind of go like, I've always said that the Snyderverse trilogy was always like how the original Star Wars was. Like Man of Steel is New Hope. BVS is Empire, and Justice League is Return of the Jedi, you know, because that's what it felt like. And it's kind of funny because the original Star Wars had 3 different directors. This one was all the same director that decided to do something different with each one. And that's what I love about what Zach did with the trilogy. And I love the trilogy so much. And I'm glad I could watch 9.5 hours of a Superman saga right over there. Like I have a physical copy that's signed by people involved, which is great. But I would say that Man of Steel does have hope. It does have joy. Man of Steel does. It ends joyful. BVS, not so much, obviously, because it's that bridge. It's the Empire Strikes Back. There's dark themes. There's a lot of just like, what's going on? And then it ends kind of just like sad. It ends kind of sad. But then, of course, that leads to the next one. Then you get the joy back and everything. So I don't agree fully with him there, but I see where he's coming from. Obviously, I do. And then he doubled down. He kept doubling down. And where was it? Where was the one? Where was that tweet? Man, still blah 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 spot. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I forgot where it was, but essentially what he said, I can't find it. I wish I could find it. It's like I can't find it where it's at right now. Obviously, people say to him that they say to me that industry plant and whatever and all this kind of stuff. Maybe he deleted it. There's a chance he might have deleted it. I don't know. There's a good chance that he might have deleted it. But he basically said that, that's certain Snyder fans or people who enjoy. It was very out there, and you just kind of go like, "Whoa, that was an interesting mindset." He basically said that people who thoroughly enjoyed the Snyderverse stuff basically didn't know how to make a woman orgasm by using their tongue, or haven't really experienced good fucking. People who like the Dawn or Superman, they like to fuck. And I was just like, whoa, interesting. It was like he was just basically like going towards like sexual nature of it all. And it was just kind of interesting. I was like, whoa. And I mean, especially when literally in BVS, there's a whole bathtub sequence where, and you see Batman's bare ass, you see Bruce's bare ass. I mean, it's a lot sexier than Dawn or Superman. I don't know. It was just kind of like, I was like, all right. I don't know. I think he was just reading a lot of comments that he was getting in his tweets. And maybe he was just like, was like, fuck these, virgins. I don't know. It's just, it's It's online, it's Twitter, it's all crazy. There was all kinds of. It was weird. It was really weird. I don't know if he deleted it. I don't know, but yeah, he was pushing back pretty hard when it came to all this stuff. And my whole outlook on it, on the whole thing is like, yeah, again, I stand with what I say. It is so much crazier than it was a decade ago when I was defending Zack and defending his Superman and of course his universe. It was a war zone, sure, but it wasn't like how it is now because, yeah, you guys know this. I mean, I don't know how many times I've mentioned. I mean, I've literally to the point where the last time I was at a Zack Snyder event, I felt uncomfortable. You know, I've been to a few Zack Snyder events and always have been felt welcomed and everything. And there was fans of mine there and just connecting with people. It was always great. But the last one I went to, which of course was the director's cuts of Rebel Moon last August, you know, I went by myself and I didn't feel comfortable. You know, it got to that point and, you know, it sucks that that's the case. It does suck that that's the case, that you just kind of like, oh man, am I going to get like approached by a group of dudes that don't like me and don't like what I have to say? You know, that's what sucks. So, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, it's just everything's different now, you know, so it's amazing what a decade can do. So, and I think maybe that had some kind of effect on Robert. I don't know, you know, that how things are now. And maybe he was just really lashing out and stuff like that. But, you know, like I said, he's an intelligent dude. He's been working in the business for so many decades and everything. So he's got a different, I think what we have to realize is people have a different approach or a different outlook and a different unique knowledge when it comes to these things. You know, I think that's what it is. It's like, there's just a certain way that people look at some of this stuff, especially like veterans of the business and stuff like that. I don't know. It's all kind of weird, but yeah, I mean, it's just fandom's crazy. All this stuff's crazy. I mean, luckily it doesn't seem like there's ever going to, hopefully it never gets to a point where things get too crazy, where physical altercations happen, even though, you know, you guys know about the story about the Rebel Moon premiere, but you know, it's just like, it's all just pretty crazy. I don't know. But at the same time, you know, it's, again, going back to what I said earlier, it's okay to be excited for summer blockbuster movies. And then it's also great to watch January movies that you enjoy. These small January movies. I enjoyed Den of Thieves, Flight Risk, and Companion. I enjoyed Companion the most. It's been a good January for movies. And now, you know, next month we have a summer blockbuster movie. Kinda, it should be, you know, Captain America, Brave New World's coming out in 2 weeks. So technically that's like the first big blockbuster of 2025. But yeah, and then of course we had the Super Bowl and more trailers coming out and everything like that. So, but it's okay to be excited for that, okay? There's a negative connotation that's happened now where it seems like people are just like not excited for I've always been excited for summer blockbuster movies, no matter what. You know, I think a lot of people emphasize like they just don't like the person behind it or the studio behind it. And I'm just like, well, I don't know. I just want to see the movie because I love going to the movies and having a good time. So cheers. Virgil, you seem comfortable when I talked to you at the event. Are you talking about the director's cut event? You were there, Virgil? I talked to you. Okay. Well, that's cool, man. I mean, sorry if I didn't like fully remember. Obviously, I don't see your face on your profile picture. No, I mean, I was fine like when it came to that, but you know, but I felt like I said, I felt like, oh man, am I going to be approached by a certain group that's here? You know, that's the thing. I felt like, oh yeah, you know, and at every other event that I've been to that had to do with Zack, I always got to say what's up to Zack, talk to Zack. He saw me. We said like, hey, what's up? You know, and all that stuff. Did not get to even, you know, at the last event, didn't even get to say hi or nothing. I said hi to Debbie in like the distance. You know, it was just kind of like, I don't want to like pry myself in there because again, it felt weird. It just felt weird. So no big deal though, guys. It's not big deal. Not a big deal. But anyways, like I said, it's just fandom and everything's just gotten crazy. It's just gotten crazy. That's what it feels like. It just feels like it's just gotten crazier. And I think like people who have been a voice and all this stuff are feeling that when they're seeing their mentions being just like destroyed. I mean, that's just going to be part of the gig now. Like, it just seems like a lot of it's just going wild. But I'm not going to give up on this. I'm going to be still hyped about it. I'm still going to talk about this stuff, and I'm also going to give my honest critiques about all this stuff. That's the thing. People can call me an industry plant or shill or whatever. I was called things before. I mean, I still get called things. I get called a Snyder cunt. I don't know how many times I get called that. Or I recently just got called a gun sexual. I don't even know what the hell that is. I'm like, what the hell? I got called a gun sexual. I'm like, I don't know what the hell that means. I was like, okay, sure. I mean, I'm guessing that just means I'm just like a shill for Gunn. But it was very odd to be like called that recently, and I was like, okay. I mean, I just laughed at it. I was like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna laugh at that because that's all you got to really do is just laugh at it. You just look at some of the stuff and be like, okay, well, I'm just gonna laugh at that and not really engage. I mean, I've seen some back and forths in my mentions, and it's turned really ugly, like just terribly ugly. But but then I just go, I'm not gonna freaking get involved. Sometimes I do, but I'm like, yeah, but I'm not gonna just like fully like engage myself with it all, because why even do that? It's just all for fun and fandom and all this kind of stuff. That's what I love about the Vodka stream. The Vodka stream, I invite people on who just want to talk things. Yeah, we might debate on things and everything. We put our opinions out there, but it's our opinions, our authentic opinions. But for the most part, it's just like how we feel about all this stuff, and we're all, we're excited about things. Sometimes some people aren't. Whatever, it's fine. I don't know. Like I don't think I'll ever lose that little child inside where I'd be like, I remember like, man, the 90s were just it was so freaking awesome in the 90s, especially when you're in school and you get the summer off. I mean, this is where the summer blockbuster season was the shit. It was like, oh, how many movies am I going to watch over the summer? And that was like a great time when you're off school and you're begging your parents to like, hey, drop me off at the movies, or can we go to the movies? This is coming out, that's coming out. I remember getting like the Entertainment Weekly magazines and looking at like, oh, what's coming out when, and this before the internet. I mean, it was a different time, guys. Different time. It was a innocent time. 1996 was a really good year, I remember, because that was like Independence Day, Twister. I forgot what else came out. Lost World, I think Lost World came out in 97. I don't know. It just seemed like every year in the 90s, there was just like, there was movies you had to watch. And it was great. 1994 was a big year of movies too. If you look at the list of movies, I mean, we got like we got 3 Jim Carrey movies. We got introduced to Jim Carrey with like 3 bangers, as the kids say. It was crazy. But yeah, I mean, I just remember those years, man. And then, of course, renting movies. Like, if you didn't catch a movie out in the movies, you rented them and all that stuff. Yeah, Independence Day, Ted. Yeah, I remember seeing Independence Day. I didn't see the midnight showing, but I remember seeing it on like a Saturday. And I remember just being like, I was nervous. I remember being nervous watching that movie. I remember having nerves. Do you guys remember ever having that? Did you guys ever have that? Where you had like you got nervous watching a movie? I don't know why. I just remember like kind of shaking. I remember sitting in a packed movie theater on like a Saturday with I think it was just my family, like a couple of cousins I think were there. My mom was there. And I remember just being nervous because I was so looking forward to this movie, but I was like, this movie's going to scare me. because it has to do with aliens, and I was all about like, I love aliens, stuff like that. But I remember just being nervous. I just remember being like nervous to watch Independence Day. It's just kind of crazy. So obviously I don't feel like that now, but it's just interesting. It's just interesting how everything is, when it comes to nowadays and everything like that, But back in my day, but yeah, I'll never get. I'll always be like giddy anytime I go watch a movie, even if it's a movie that I'm like, I didn't really want to care to see this, but you know what? Every movie that I go to see, I'm like, I'm hoping for the best. I'm never going in to be like, oh, this is going to be a shit sandwich. I always have like, hey, if I have low expectations, that can help a little bit because, man, sometimes I've had low expectations, and then I walk out of the movie and be like, you know what, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So it's a movie. Movies are great. All right. All right. Where is my... Oh, it's over there. All right. Now I was like, where's my phone at? Anyways, guys. All right. So I've done enough rambling. Start bringing some people in here. All right. Got the background. Hey, what's up, Chris?
Now that is one amazing opening for Fanimated.
You think you like that, right?
I absolutely think that's your best one. I mean, you're right. He outdid himself.
He totally outdid himself. It was funny because Alessandro. I mean, like I said, I've always loved his artwork. He's been doing art forever. He's he helped the my closing scene or my closing splash page that I do with me just standing there. That's his. And yeah, he's always just done great work. And then like I said, I approached him for the start of this whole thing, and then approached him for doing the Superman opening. And then I was like, all right, we got Batman Beyond now, guy. Here's the opening. Do with it what you can, do your magic. And then I remember it's funny too, because he was like, I haven't got it done yet, but here's a storyboard. And he had he sent me like a full storyboard. And I was like, all right, that looks like, I'm thinking, man, this is going to be too much. Like, it almost seems like he's going to outdo himself.
Wait a minute, did you say there's too much Batman in Batman?
Right. But man, when he sent me that, and I was like, holy shit, dude. Because I mean, I remember when it came to the first one, he did I told him, I was like, hey, if you could do something where it just goes up and it's us standing there, like how Batman, the opening is, just do that. That'd be cool. And then I added the lightning effect, and I think because he sent me like a shadowy effect, and then because it was basically just like, I forgot exactly how we did it, but it was kind of like a collaboration where I actually did my own editing, and then I added the music, and then added the lightning effect and everything, and then of course added the title and everything, and it ended up working out. And I was like, it was great and everything. And then when it came to Superman, that's where he was like, well, I'm going to animate you guys flying. I was like, perfect, totally fine by me. And then I added the music to it. He didn't have music on it, so I found some music that sounded similar to it. And with this one, that music is a cover, like a kind of a cover of the Batman Beyond theme. And I asked him, I was like, is that the actual music? Because it sounds similar. And he goes, no, it's actually a cover. It's a little different. And he said he checked the copyright, like he ran a test.
Oh, good.
He was all, you should be fine. You should be fine. I'm like, all right. And I was like, yeah, I believe it, and I posted it, and I posted it as an individual video on my channel. I'm like, it hasn't been anything. So I'm like, we're good when it comes to that. But yeah, he really outdid himself with that one.
Yeah. Scott being Bruce, that seems appropriate at that point. I mean, he knows everything and is the old curmudgeon of the group, right?
Of course. So yeah, he was just like, I remember one of the things he asked me there was a little while back, and he was like, what's going on with the opening? I'm like, oh yeah, well, we'll get it worked on. It's probably going to take a bit. Maybe it won't be done by time. He's like, okay, that's cool. I just want to be Bruce. I want to be old Bruce. I'm like, yeah, don't worry. We got that covered. You were definitely going to be old Bruce.
Let me stand corrected. He's distinguished.
He's distinguished. There you go. Yeah. I'm going to clip that out and send that to him. What's going on, Phil?
Howdy. What's up, Vince?
Going?
Another day.
Yeah.
$1. Another, controversy every week about something or other. Be it Spider-Man, Superman, you name it.
I like your red kryptonite sun in the background. That's very nice.
Felt fitting.
Yeah.
Very fitting. It's funny. Like right before our game on, I sent Chris a picture. I was like, "This is what I'm wearing, just for the record."
just to make sure I didn't have that one.
Yes, you're gonna be wearing. I know you guys have been doing pretty good when it comes to shirts and stuff like that. How was your show today, Phil?
It was cool. It was okay. So when I got to the Spider-Man stuff and Friendly Neighborhood came up, and even before that, I was talking about the Fantastic Four trailer that's apparently coming on Thursday, and how I was basically just making fun of nerds and like, how they probably sound when they get like anger, like visibly angry about whatever, and they probably just cry woke.
Hey, can't do that.
That's woke. Damn it, Disney, you're being woke. Just stupid shit, But yeah, nature of the beast, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, we'll be having discussions on that. And then we got Ryan showing up too. What's going on, sir?
Yeah.
It's been an interesting week. I learned a new term today, thanks to Dave. Gun sexual. That's a new one.
Oh yeah, gun sexual is definitely something I got called earlier this week. Not sure why, but yeah,
it's interesting. So I don't know if you saw the rounds of this particular video, but back when Gunn and Jenna Fisher were together, there's this. It's like 2006, 2007, like before she was even on The Office kind of thing. They were together, and he says some stuff that I was just like, I needed to.
I saw that. Yeah.
And I'm sure people change, but that's one of those things where you're like, once you hear it, you're like, man, that it paints a picture,
Oh yeah, he did some he had some sketches and had some things back in his younger days. That's for damn sure.
I think when you grow up in that trauma or whatever environment, like there's going to be a lot of weird and wacky, to put it simply, discussions and environments that you find yourself in. But I never thought that I would hear that come from him. So I don't know.
Yeah, I remember seeing that a while ago too. I think it surfaced a while ago too, and I was like, yeah, there's some things. Like I said, I mean, he was very trying to be that edgelord, weird guy back in the early 2000s for damn sure. And like I said, you just want you hope people change,
right? Exactly.
He's older now, and now he's married, and now he's hopefully a different person, and that's just what you got to do. That's what you got to think about right there. But
he's got his comedic sensibilities, and I think we all kind of understand the James Gunn tone. But at the same time, it's like I'm sure that at least to some extent he's evolved over the years. It seems like he's got more of a, he's not about gross out humor and all that stuff, and you can see that. Although there is still some fart jokes along the way.
Oh, of course. There's always going to be those. There's always going to be those for sure.
So I'm just really curious about Superman. I don't know that it's, going to wow everyone, but I think it's done a good job of impressing a good majority. And for even the detractors, there's enough conversation about it that I think it's going to get some eyeballs on it, to say the least. And we'll see what summer brings. But I'm more actually excited about Fantastic Four.
Yeah, so that was like some of the big news that happened today that got revealed, which apparently wasn't supposed to be revealed. Did you guys see that?
They took it down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that the thing about Empire State, with the lights on it, or?
Yeah, but that was actually for the Dogman movie that's coming out. Yeah, I got fooled by it too. Yeah, I got fooled by it too. I saw because I'm looking at Fantastic Four updates on Twitter. And they posted that, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's blue, and you got the orange for the thing, yeah." They're celebrating it, but then all of a sudden I see someone in my mentions go, "That's for Dogman," and then I searched it. I'm like, "Oh shit, it is!" And I was like, "Okay, they're celebrating Dogman that's coming out because apparently the Eiffel Tower also has similar color scheme." And I'm like, "Yeah, that makes sense. Why would they want to celebrate a trailer, especially before it comes out?" And what with the
Disney
color
has money.
I do have to ask. There was an article this week that said Dogman is going to do great numbers, and I'm not saying it won't because it's an animated kids film and they tend to do pretty solid regardless. But do you think that really has any, catch to it? Like that people are going to be like, "Wow, I got to go and see Dogman this weekend."
Well,
Yeah.
It did do on the Thursday showings. It did better than Companion. Not much better, but it did better. I would say that because it's a family film and it's based on some books. I know Scott took his one of his sons who really loves the books and surprised him with it.
Okay.
'Cause he kept on telling me, he was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, or I don't forget which one.
Declan.
It was Declan. Yeah. He was like, oh yeah, he doesn't know that I'm taking him to see Dogman, and so. Yeah, so I mean,
yeah,
who knows? I don't know. Like I said, I have never even heard of the character. I was like, wait, this is about a guy and a dog. They become one kind of thing, and it's animated. Interesting.
Yeah, like you see the books when you pass by in a Target book aisle or something like that. You're like, I'm sure kids love that. But then their pitch in the trailer is like, the guy's basically dead. The dog's half dead. Let's just put his head on. It's like a weird spell. I don't get it.
Yeah, when I saw that trailer, I was just like, that's pretty graphic for like a, a kid's thing. And then my son gets all into it. He never even, he got into the books before he even saw the trailer. And I was like, all right, bud, it's what you want to listen to. And it's like all graphic novels and everything. So he's, like father, like son. So whatever hooks him, right?
Exactly. When you're kids, you're into all sorts of weird stuff. So
did you see it yet, Chris? Or are you going to see it?
No, the movies for going to the movies for him is not as cool as like he gets to see it at home. So he's always like, so when do we get to see it at home? So we've taken him to occasional movie at that point, but he's good until he says, when's it coming? I said, give it 30 days. We'll be fine.
Yeah, I know, right? That seems to be the case now, which is kind of crazy. And I love how like there's like a whole video of Quentin Tarantino kind of talking about that too. How it seems like what's a movie nowadays? Because if you could just see it in like 2 weeks or 30 days. Yeah, he brings up a good point, And like I said, like that's kind of one of the things I was talking about at the opening is just, I mean, I remember like, when I was a kid, I couldn't wait to go to the movies and see, like, especially when it was summer blockbuster season. And you're just like so excited, like, oh yeah, this movie's coming out. I got to see this one, got to see that one. And it just seems like nowadays it's like, some people are just kind of like, and when I see a tweet where somebody's just going, hey, what's your excitement for these 4 movies? And people are just being like, well, I'm only excited for this one, or I'm just excited for this one. I'm like, Jesus Christ, here's my excitement level. Boom, 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 boom. I still get excited for summer blockbuster movies. Jesus Christ, I get it. You don't like certain things that are coming out, but I'm like,
yeah, it's a good point. Do you think that the cost of movies has allowed people to be more discerning about which ones they like and be more critical about that? Because I think about that. We went and saw Sonic 3 for the second time. Amanda wanted to go and see it with me. So we saw it on Tuesday, but the day it literally came out on streaming. But we got it for like $12 because there was some deal on T-Mobile Tuesdays or something like that. So we got to see it for like $12. It was a cheap Tuesday ticket, and as much as I like it, I was like, I don't know that I'd be going back if it was, $18 per person or, some of these prices.
Well, I mean, that's what's happening with movie theaters. When the movie theater experience nowadays, it's like, it's almost like you have to, it's like going to a theme park now. I mean, Scorsese was not wrong when it came to what he said. I mean, the way he said, like, it's like a theme park ride with some of this stuff. But, at the same time, it's like, yeah, you're going into like a bigger screens, reclined seats. You can get food served to you. You can get alcohol in some places. They have places, some of them have daycares in them where you're like, yeah, we go watch your kids while you go watch your erotic thriller and, and stuff like that if you want to. But it's just like it's a whole thing now where it's not just like the normal, like you go to the movies, you sit in a kind of uncomfortable chair, sticky floor, and then then that's it. It's not like that anymore. Now it's like a whole thing where like you have to pay. Right. And it's so funny too, because I always say like if you go to a movie theater that has booze, because it's like a whole separate thing. I'm not sure the logistics, but like the booze is cheaper than the fucking food. It's crazy. You get a thing of popcorn. It's more than a pint of beer.
Right.
Like it's crazy. Like because it's like a whole. I don't know what it is, but I mean that's why I never get. I rarely ever get movie popcorn or food or anything like that.
Oh, see, and that's like a must especially when I bring Amanda along. We're always getting the biggest bucket. She has to add extra butter and all that stuff. And I'm like,
course,
I mean,
yeah.
that's fine. But then you look over and then they've got, mostly it's AMC that does this, but there's it's like an infected margarita. It's a whole thing to go with Wolfman, which I don't know if you guys have seen that movie.
Yeah.
Verdict's out on that one for me. I really don't know.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw your video. I take that back. Yeah, I know you enjoyed it. But I was still kind of on the fence with that one. But they're advertising that infected margarita, and I don't know what's all in it, but I think it was like $15 for that. You combine that plus the $30 you're spending on soda and popcorn, and it's way too much. Like what you were saying before about Tarantino, like he had that whole thing, I think it was on Bill Maher or whatever, where he said like, it was this convenience to the masses, like to come in and get a ticket for like $5 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's such an easy and accessible thing. And now we turn them somewhat understandably so into like this boutique experience. And I don't know. I like the fact that I can recline my chair, but is that worth me spending an extra $10 for it? I'd rather go back to the basic stuff.
Well, like the theater I go to, that's right around the corner from my house. It doesn't have recliner chairs. It doesn't have booze. It doesn't have nothing. I just walk in. I literally just walk in, watch the movie, and then walk out.
Right.
And like, I pay probably about the tops. I pay $12. It's not even that bad.
Okay.
But if I go to, if I'm meeting up with like my dad or, anybody who wants to meet up at the more luxury theater, we get the reclined seats. We can get some booze and stuff like that. So, obviously things are going to cost more, but I don't know. It's interesting. Like I don't mind the reclined seats, but at the same time, there's some people just, I don't know how many times I've been in one of those and, quiet scene happens and you're hearing, you're hearing somebody that's fallen asleep because, they're so comfortable. So there is that downside, I guess, as well. But it's all very interesting, but I don't know. It's kind of gotten to the point where almost like, it's like if you want to take the family to the movies, it's like almost going to Disneyland now, where you got to like, we're going to be spending this amount of money and it's going to be a whole kind of day kind of thing. I don't know. It's like a theme park now. So,
save the money. Just go to downtown Disney for free.
Pretty much, I guess. But
anytime our family comes in, like they're ready with the whole big thing. We spent, hundreds of this and hundreds on that. I'm like, we'll see you at downtown Disney. That's about it.
Yeah, like Chris, for instance, with you probably don't go to the movies all that much, right?
Well, not with a family of four at that point. We did see Moana 2 in the theaters because my daughter's favorite princess is Moana, so that was like an easy sell. And we saw Wicked here when it dropped on digital, so we gotta pick and choose. We've been over this whole thing. It's like, how much money does it cost? And it's why my children aren't necessarily big into going to the theater. Like they consider it like a big treat, and that's fine with me. That's what it should be. I'm the one who sees the movies on his own because after pandemic, like my wife didn't care much to go see movies in theaters anymore, not because of like germs. It just kind of lost its luster, as she put it.
Sure.
Yeah, I think the pandemic really had an impact on it too. And that's the thing. It's like, and I get where Tarantino's coming from, but he's very old school no matter what. I mean, I think that's why a lot of people like some of the things that he says. It's like, I understand his point of view because, he's one of my favorite directors, and I've seen so many interviews. I've read things, and you understand his mindset and where he's coming from. And it's like, he's very much it's like he's the get off my lawn of movie goer kind of stuff, where it's just like, that's what he looks at it like, hey, it should be this. It's like, but it's a different world now, man. Like, even like what he said recently, it's like, I totally understand. Like, what is a movie now if you could just watch it at home, within 30 days? But it's like, well, it's the convenience, it's the technology. And like I said, like what Chris said, it's like, it's too much to just get the whole family, go to a movie, and how much it costs when it's like, we could just
we don't even buy anything out. We just go to the movie. We don't buy drinks or anything because it's already expensive enough. So I mean, we kind of like put it either right before lunch, so when we get home they're hungry, or right after lunch.
That
so
makes
it's
that
just,
good.
trying to be
there's sometimes
economical
where
with it.
I
At
see
least
some
you're smart
families.
about
Yeah. I see some families and they got like all their little individual boxes and everything. And I'm like, good Lord. I'm like, I'm wondering how much. But yeah, I mean, it's just like one of those things where you're just like, yeah, you got to realize, okay, yeah, it's a different kind of world now. It's like this, it's like that. I mean, I'm always going to go to movies. I love going to the movies, and there's always that thing too where people are like, oh, I can't ever go to a movie by myself. I'm like, I love going to movies by myself.
I literally did that yesterday for Companion. It was amazing.
Yeah. Dude, there's like I at first I think it was like when I actually first moved. Well, no, it was before that too. I don't know. When I started going to the movies by myself, yeah, at first it was like, this is kind of weird, that I'm here by myself, because usually I'll be like, I hit up a friend, hey, I'm gonna go see this, hey, I'm gonna go see that, and usually I could find somebody, but then it just got to a point where everybody just got too busy, and then it's just like, and I think it was about 10 years ago, pretty much, where I started realizing, I'm like, just go by yourself. Who fucking cares?
Yep.
Nobody cares. And I think people get inside their head because they might think you're like some kind of weirdo or something like that. And I will say, I will say
what?
that
if that's what it is, I'm a weirdo.
I'm a weirdo. Hey, I did walk into Barbie by myself, and that
I
was
did
a little
too.
strange. Yeah. So
I
I will
still haven't
say,
seen
like, when I
that.
walked in and I went to my seat, when all
Still
the
haven't seen it.
there's no
I am not missing much. I know.
You're
I know.
not missing
Yeah.
much. You've probably seen as much as you need to see online. But like, like when you're walking in and I'm like, I usually sit on the bottom part, and then there's like a packed top part. Yeah, I might be like, yeah, they probably think I'm some kind of weirdo. I don't care. I'm here to see a movie. Whatever. Who gives a shit? I mean, I will say though, when was it? Was it for Wolfman? Maybe it was for Wolfman. I think it was for Wolfman. Yeah. So I don't think I talked about this, but it was kind of funny because I went to the movie theater over here. And usually, like, if it's a small movie, there's not going to be anybody else there. And usually I pick like the back row of the bottom part, center, and it's just like screen perfectly right there. I could put my feet up on the chair in front of me and just kind of like kick back and whatever. I like walk in and there's like a girl that's just like sitting directly in front of me, and I'm going, just by yourself? And I immediately I kind of stopped. I went, I'm not gonna sit behind her because she's gonna be, that's just, to me, that just seems a little weird. There is literally nobody else in the theater, and I'm just gonna sit right behind her. So I just decided to move, and I was like, I'm gonna sit up here and everything. And then of course some dude by himself with like a big box of whatever just walks in, and he ends up sitting like right next to him. I'm like, oh, you're sitting right here? Sorry, dude. I'll move over. There's plenty of space. So it was like a very like awkward, weird thing. Literally just 3 of us in the movie theater. I think there might have been like 2 other people when we watched Wolfman, but it was just like, it was like musical chairs for me, because I'm like, I'm not going to sit directly behind. It just felt weird. Like, really? You chose that seat? Did you not see that
Seinfeld episode, the way you're describing it?
Yeah. It really did, because I was like, I don't want to make her feel awkward. But then again, it could have been my soulmate for all I know. Jeez, I probably missed out. Jeez, well, who cares?
We had a touch of that too with Sonic, where I looked the day before and there was no tickets booked. I'm like, oh, we're gonna have this all to ourselves. We'll kick back or be right in the middle, middle front or whatever. But then as soon as we got in there, kids, just like a whole bunch of kids, fairly big family with basically a mom just watching all these kids, went right in front of us. And then
oh god,
we were just like we could tell how it was going to go, and it wasn't like time for us to even be even slightly romantic. So we're like, we'll just push off to the right. And then the whole thing filled up, and I was like, the movie's on streaming, but the theater pretty much filled up except for the front row.
Yeah.
Not that it was that big, but yeah, I was just really surprised. And then it kind of ruined this couples night that we were going to do, because you got kids shouting out like,
yeah, well, Sonic.
Yeah, because they didn't know what the difference between Shadow and Sonic was. So a lot of kid voices to say that. So
yeah, I mean, it's always interesting when it comes to that, because like I said, it was just so funny. And then when I moved over, when that dude like said, I was like, oh no, I'll move over. There's plenty of space. And then I just pulled up like the Fandango app, and I looked, and literally I was like, wow, she picked a seat directly in front of where I picked. I'm like, did she not see that somebody already had that seat? It just was like, it was so like, it was interesting. It was just and I've had that before where I showed up, and there was like people that were directly behind where I was going to sit. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to sit right there. I'm like, this theater's not going to be packed. I'll sit over to a few seats over because, I know it's not going to be like that. I've done that, but it was just funny how that ended up being. And I was like, all right, but yeah, that's what's so funny about picking your seats now. I mean, it used to just not be like that. Now people are totally just like, "This is my seat." It's like they're on an airplane. My seat, I'm like, well, it's not going to be a full. I mean, I don't know.
You know what's funny is like when me and my cousin saw Deadpool and Wolverine when I was down in San Diego last July.
Yeah.
Like what happened was I picked the tickets and we get to the theater and I go, hey, I'm here to pick up my tickets, and they were like, oh, so the theater you guys have, the projector's actually fucked up, so we're moving you to a different theater. I was like, oh, okay. He was like, yeah, just keep your seats from your same ticket. I was like, are they the same? Is it the same layout? Yeah, it's fine. So we go and sit down, and some guy and his girl walk up, and he's like, hey man, you're in my seat. And I was like, hey man, were you supposed to see the Deadpool movie at this time in this theater? He goes, yeah. I said, okay, go find somewhere else to sit. He goes, what? I said, you heard me. Everyone here has to go see that movie from that screening, but because that projector's broken, we're now here. So again, go find another seat, dude. And he was like, oh, okay. I was like, yeah, man, I'm sorry, but I'm not moving. Just treat it like it's old school.
Got to treat it like it's old school. What's going on, Paul?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, Paul.
Yeah.
Paul, do you remember that time we saw Frozen Empire and we had the entire theater to ourselves?
That was fantastic. Alamo Drafthouse, Boston. Yeah,
fucking
good
beautiful.
stuff. Now,
it's kind of fun when you have the whole theater. It is kind of fun when you have the whole theater yourself. Me and my dad had the whole theater to ourselves when we saw Craven. Shocker, I know.
Shocker.
Yeah.
But so we were just talking to each other like during the movie, like we were at home. So it was fine, So yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember you talking about that before, but yeah, Craven being an empty theater, that's not shocking.
Not at all.
It'd be funny if they got as far as the Shocker, and then they could have had so many shocking memes for how bad the box office was. No,
right?
Okay.
They were craving shocked.
Exactly.
Shocked craving.
Shock.
Yeah,
Craven.
I will say though, for Alamo Drafthouse, it was just a great theater in general. So it was good service. The guy was like our waiter server was just as much a movie buff as us, so it was pretty fun. And he was just showing
that's always I love that. I love it when people who work at the movie theater know like their shit too, and they start talking to you about stuff. I always love it when especially when they engage in the conversation. I usually never try to do that, but when they engage with me, I'm like, oh, here we go, buddy. You want to have a conversation? Let's have a conversation.
Yeah. Well, that's why Alamo Drafthouse is pretty sweet, because the people who usually get employed are people that love movies. So it's it's a good environment, and they're the kind of theater too that if say someone comes in and is using their phone, they monitor that. They'll come in and they'll be like, please just, shut that off or whatever. And funny enough, so I did go to see Barbie by myself.
Yes.
When that came
Join
out.
the club, yes.
We have three of us here, yes.
And the theater wasn't that crowded. I don't know if I saw it opening day or opening weekend. But
I saw it opening. I saw it that Friday. So technically opening day.
I saw it a week later because I was out of town when the Barbenheimer actually happened.
Yeah, I had a pretty packed theater.
Yeah, I was more concerned about Oppenheimer first, and then Barbie was probably second. So
I saw that Thursday.
I saw Oppenheimer first.
Yeah.
Right. So
I just saw Oppenheimer.
The same room that I'm in,
it's Phil enough.
Probably,
it's okay, Phil. It's Phil enough.
It's for sure.
Probably about like 3 or 4 seats down. There's got to be these teenage girls. I don't know. They were probably between ages 12 to 15 maybe. Hard to kind of tell in the dark too. I don't really remember, and I didn't see them before or after the show. But for some reason, one way or another, one of the girls took out her phone, which at first I was like, okay, they're probably just checking a message or something. Mm-hmm. But they started taking I think pictures of themselves or their friend, or they were even taking a picture of the movie. I don't know what they were doing, but the light was on and it was distracting. And again, I know it's Barbie, and at one point, because they did it multiple times, and I had to ask myself, I'm like, do I want to be a 36-year-old man yelling at teenage girls in the theater
You
Because
want to
they're
do it,
And
but
because
he
they're
said,
ruining
I'm
my
choosing
screening of
violence
Barbie."
today. Yes.
Because they're ruining my screening of Barbie. But yes.
yes.
So what I did is I did like a litmus test. Like I waited and I was like patient. And then like by the time Will Ferrell got to Barbie World, which was like pretty close to the end of the movie, they'd taken their phone
Yeah.
after like the third time.
Mhm.
So I finally like turned to them and I was close enough where I was like, they could hear me. Like I'm not yelling across the theater. And I pretty much played like a parent move and I was like, put the phone away. And they did.
Now.
nice.
I didn't like raise my voice. I was just like,
You were
Like,
just stern. You were
direct them.
stern.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Dude, when me and my buddy saw Phantom Menace for the 25th
God.
in May.
Oh, 25th. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I was like,
right.
I was thinking 1999 for two
No.
seconds. Okay.
We're sitting down. The Duel of Fates is about to happen,
oh,
and my friend pulls his phone out, and he has a
Oh.
watch, mind you. He has a fucking watch he could look at, and he's just looking at it. And I look at him. And he's like, "What?" I said, "Dude." And he goes, "What?" I said, "Dude." And he goes, "Oh." I said, "Yeah." And he goes,
good on you.
"My bad." I was like, "Yeah, man, come on.
Good
We
on
saw
you,
the
man.
Batman. You were fine then."
Yeah, keep them in check, man. Sometimes you gotta keep your friends in check. Hey, we got Jordan showing up right here.
Hey, yeah.
I hate
always
when you
to
do
hit-
that.
I'm sorry.
Every
I know, I always
fucking
forget.
time.
Every time. Sorry, dude. I know, but I have to make sure you're awake. What's up, bud? Been a while. Good to
Yeah,
see
it's
you.
been a bit. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Looks very familiar.
always. Yeah.
You don't know me. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
You're right,
No
I
one
don't
knows
know
me.
you. I don't
Yeah.
know.
What?
I know nothing.
Wait. It's almost like you guys, are on streams together.
No,
on
that doesn't
Wednesday.
happen. No,
something
it's all a
called-
fever dream. I think it's all.
Oh,
bad
is that what it is?
nightmare. That's
Okay.
not real. No.
DOF.
Yes. All right. Inside joke happening right there.
Department of Farts. Yes.
Oh, is that what it is?
No.
Wow.
Oh.
Who knows?
Maybe.
Oh man, well, good to see you, Jordan. We're just talking about movie theater experiences right now. Do you have any ones that you have had where
Well,
people have annoyed you or whatever?
Yeah.
Of course.
So I saw Wolfman by myself earlier this
Nice.
month, and then me and my wife saw Companion by herself last night. There was no one
Nice.
else in the theater, so this was weird. Yeah, the Meg 2. Yeah, that was a bad one. Obviously, the movie's not great, but so the movie starts. It's like me and like 10 or 12 other people in the theater, and there's no one else in my row. All of a sudden, here comes this elderly couple. I'm like, oh god,
Oh boy.
and they're walking perfectly fine. Everything's fine until they're gonna sit right next to me. I'm like, god.
Oh, that's
Well,
I hate that.
the guy he sees me and she's looking right at me. He walks right past and sits down like 2 seats over, so she's gonna sit right between us. I'm like, oh god. She sets her purse down on my legs as I have my
What?
feet up. Yeah, I'm reclined back. She puts her purse on my legs, and then I'm like, excuse, and I yell loud, excuse me. And she like looks over her husband and then she starts moving over, and then she sits down and she's like, there was somebody there. He's like, yes. What are you talking about? Like, of course he's there. And then she's just sitting there holding her purse for the rest of the film. They already missed like 15 minutes of the movie.
Oh,
And she's
God.
holding her purse. I'm like, what? I should have moved. Because there's so many seats I could have went to, but I'm like,
But then you
That's-
don't want to because you're already there, and it's like,
yeah, because I was reclined back, relaxing. They're
yeah,
looking right
you're
at me.
already settled in.
Yeah, she just sets her purse on my legs.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
like-
So that's another pet peeve I have about the movie theater too. People who show up fucking late. I
Yeah,
hate
like
that.
they showed up, and I'm like, guys, like
Like,
you
you
didn't miss-
literally have a buffer time because there's trailers, but you're
Yeah.
showing up when the movie's starting
You
with
really
your
didn't
all
miss
your
much, though.
all your shit. You know,
the
It's
first
just-
15 minutes, you don't miss really anything in that movie. But
Well, yeah, but
point-
still,
yeah,
but
but-
I'm
yeah,
like,
but
you
you-
have a specific time. You should
Yeah.
be in your seat.
fun
Trailers
fact that
are some of the best things too. I don't know.
yeah, I do love trailers. I think it's interesting. So I live in a small town now where I moved. They only play 2 trailers and they play the movie.
Oh, lucky
Really?
you.
Yes. So
Lucky
literally,
you.
I forget what movie they played. I forget what trailer was there. They were last night. They played 2 trailers last night and they were done.
I saw Novocaine. Did you see Novocaine trailer? I'm sure
It's
they
so
don't.
good.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, I mean, I
didn't see that
figured,
one.
because Jack Quaid, I was like, oh yeah, of course they're gonna play this one in
Yeah,
front of
no,
another.
I'm trying to
Jack
remember
Quaid
what they
movie.
played. I can't remember. All I know is when I saw Wolfman, I think they played like an extra one, but I know they played Hard Eyes for Wolfman. like a
Hard
teaser
Eyes,
for that.
They played Hard Eyes last night for me for Companion.
Yeah,
And I
it's
think they
all Hard Eyes
played.
also.
I think they played the teaser for Companion, not the full trailer for Companion in front of Wolfman as well. I think. But yeah, I can remember what they played last night. I mean,
Yeah.
Have any of you guys seen Hard Eyes yet?
No, I haven't seen
Okay,
it.
I think Wonder Meg was saying that she saw it or something.
Yeah, she posted that she saw an early screen.
Yeah. It's like, damn, I didn't get that one. Okay.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm just like whatever with it. I'll probably go see it, but it's just another slasher movie with another dude with a mask. It's pretty interesting, the mask, I will say that. But
yeah, it's kind of like My Bloody Valentine for me. I mean, I know it's a little ridiculous, but I don't know. I've been craving a good slasher movie for a while, so that and supporting Devin Sawa because I've always been a fan of his. So.
Oh, is he in that movie?
Yeah, apparently he is. Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. I don't know a lot. All I know is just the trailers. That's it. I didn't know who was in it. I know like one of the dudes that was in one of the Scream sequels is in it. I recognize him because I didn't see the last.
He's in Scream 5 and 6.
Yeah, I didn't see the last Scream movie. By the way, what the fuck? What's his name? Coming back?
Real quick, Hard Eyes is produced by the same people who have done the latest Scream films. But Matthew Lillard and Scott Foley are coming back for Scream 7, which is like
yes, Matthew Lillard and Scott Foley. What is going on with this? Okay, so my whole thing, I didn't see the last one. I'm gonna watch it, and I'll probably watch this one because I'm kind of now curious of like what is happening with this franchise.
Yeah.
But I'm just kind of going like, all right, what? I mean, obviously, when it comes to what was his character's name, Stu?
Yeah,
Stu Macher.
Yeah.
Stu Macher.
I mean, he got a TV. He looked like he was dead. I mean, obviously, they could just be like, maybe he didn't die.
His head is horribly misshapen now.
They actually
like
toy
Elephant
with
Man
that
style.
They toy with that in the end of 6.
Yeah,
they like allude like, oh, some people think he might not have died, and it's
like,
huh.
So, I mean, of course, there's like, oh yeah, maybe he has a twin brother, or maybe they're gonna do a flashback thing like they did in Scream 5. With the fact that her dad was who was the other guy's name? I forgot his name. Her dad, it was her dad, right?
So in Scream 1,
am I wrong on that? I don't even know. I'm not good on
her mom was like kind of, I mean, she was loose. That she was like, considered the town slut, I guess. And she slept with the other guy, not Stu.
Billy Loomis?
Yeah, what's his name?
Yeah, Billy Loomis. There you go.
Yeah, Billy. There you go.
And it caused his parents to split, and so created him basically being like turning into a psycho and copying the movies that he grew up on, and then Stu was just kind of along for the ride. But the bigger twist of that movie was that there were 2 killers that I guess had not been done before in that slasher genre. So that was really like that was one of the big twists in the movie, basically. And spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen Scream.
And then Scott Foley is the only one to be the soul killer.
Correct. He's also Sydney's half brother.
Yes.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So it's like
I don't. Yeah. There's too much lore.
Sydney Prescott creates another villain. She's the original Tony Stark, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And then they add,
that's what's going to be interesting about this whole thing is like it's like okay, so they were kind of going off a different direction, and obviously they were still going to have pieces of you can't step too much away from the original Scream people. And so, but I think with all the things that happened with Melissa Barrera and that whole mess, now it's like they're trying to be like, okay, how do we fix this? Because I think the franchise is holding on by a thread now, because a lot of people are disappointed because they were liking the new direction with her and Jenna Ortega being like, oh, yeah, they're the new Scream queens and whatever the fuck. And now we can start kind of like step away. But now they're like, well, and then of course Neve Campbell like supported that. And then all of a sudden she's like, okay, I'm signing up for Scream 7. Sorry, they signed a big check for me to come back. Yeah, so a lot of people are like mad at her for doing that. And then all of a sudden now we got 2 other OG people showing up. But at the same time, I don't blame them because they need people to be excited for it. To even somebody like me who's not a big Scream enthusiast. After 2, I was like, all right, I'm kind of over this. 3 was fine. 4, I was like, oh, fucking, why is this still happening? But now I'm just kind of going, well, now I'm curious of how you're bringing these people back, So now you got my curiosity, so I could be like, okay, this might be smart, but it might be a total disaster.
So what you're saying is you're gonna
I'm
do a
guessing
whole
it's
series
Visions.
rewatch.
Huh?
Before, I'm guessing you're probably going to do a whole series rewatch before you get to the 7th one.
Yeah, probably.
Mm.
I mean, if they're bringing back some of the other OGs, I'll probably do like a whole rewatch back. Oh, the next thing we're gonna hear is Jamie Kennedy's coming back. That would be insane. I don't think they will.
They've been a little out there lately. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I've watched them on some podcasts. Oh yeah, he's conspiracy theory. He's talking about Hollywood and how Hollywood is. I kind of dig it because I like going down those rabbit holes. But I'm like, yeah, you're a little cuckoo chew now, aren't you?
So
yeah, you like some Alex Jones, don't you now, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know about the Alex Jones thing. The only clip of his I've seen that showed up on my feed, because I'm not looking for Jamie Kennedy or Scream related stuff.
Lie.
But no, I'm not. But he popped up on there, and it was about him going to Warner Brothers recently and going past all of the empty lots. And I was like, that sounds about right, because they don't have money.
Yeah, no matter. I mean, yeah, he'll say some kooky stuff, but he's also like very going. This is how things are now. Like he's mentioned. Yeah, I saw that clip too. I haven't watched that. I think that I watched that specific podcast too, where he was like talking about that. But yeah, no, I mean, I think it was a podcast he had with Harlan Williams, actually.
Sounds about right.
And Paul, real quick. I don't know if you know, but in Burbank, they have this area known as the Ranch. They're expanding that area too. So there's moving and shaking going around at Burbank. Because when I was there last time, it was in the evening and people were kind of like checking out for the day, but it did feel a little bit more empty. So I kind of agree on that, but it's not like everything's completely shutting down over there too. They're moving in different directions. Like some studios are trying to even move into Vegas now. So
yeah,
I think it's a false equivalency that he's painting. It's just he's not in the industry like he used to be.
Yeah, I think it's just a lot of things. I mean, you had COVID and the writer's strike. They really just fucked a lot of things up. I mean, that's the thing. Yeah. But hey, we got Seek joining in right now too. Look who's also returning. It's been a little bit since I've seen you, brother. How you doing?
Good. Hey, everybody. Hey, I'm wearing my Batman Beyond shirt. I love the new show.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love the Green Lantern hat.
Oh, of course, man. I just did a whole wall of Green Lantern shit over here. It's not done yet, but I'm working on it.
Hell yeah, dude.
Cool.
I'm so excited.
Good to see you, man. How you doing?
Good. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, always, man. Anytime you want to come on, always like it. You and Jordan coming back, it's just like a little bit old times. And even Ryan,
see me ever again.
On for a bit.
You'll be back. You'll be back, just like Scream.
Yes,
exactly.
A franchise I've not watched. So
You've not watched the Scream?
No.
I've never been interested.
No, whenever it's like, oh, this character, I'm like, I have no idea. I got nothing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I did want to say though, real quick, and I say this loving Matthew Lillard, but usually it's a pretty big sign, especially nowadays with any kind of franchise, when they start bringing back a nostalgia, type character from like the first couple movies. It's usually a sign that they're like truly desperate and they're trying to do something. So,
kind of like when your old favorite hair metal band comes back for like their 8th or 9th.
Yes. So the Scream franchise is effectively Kiss. That's true. Yes.
I was gonna say Motley Crue, but same difference.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm gonna go to the concert, but part of me sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
you'll know if they're going the Kiss route when they start selling Scream coffins for people.
I think they do that already, don't they?
I think they do.
I don't know.
Ghostface coffins.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, is Scream at the point of where they're like somehow Palpatine returned? I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I don't know this franchise as much, but do they make like meta jokes and shit, like reference shit?
That's the whole thing.
I'm just okay. Well, then they literally could do that meta joke reference about how Palpatine somehow returned. They could somehow Stu return.
Maybe
like
he's our Palpatine. Yeah, exactly.
This is literally one of the few franchises you can get away with bringing characters like these two back and have it in a way.
That's probably what they're doing.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah.
And also, this is being directed by Kevin Williamson, who wrote the first film anyway, because Christopher Landon backed out once Jenna Ortega and Marissa Barrera were no longer a part of Seven. He made a really ridiculous, and this is before I left Twitter, but he made a really, really like tone deaf fucking tweet and said some shit, was just like, I wish everyone would just stop yelling at each other, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, dude, wrong message, wrong time. And shortly thereafter, he was no longer directing Scream 7. So then Kevin Williamson came in, and Neve Campbell came back, and, well, here we are.
Okay.
Yeah. And they've added a whole bunch, too. It's not just the returning ones. Like, Joel McHale's a part of the cast this time. I think he's going to end up being, like, Neve Campbell's or Sydney's husband or something, because they
Yeah.
had
She
shown
dropped
him.
Dempsey.
It's
She
supposed
brought
to be
Dempsey.
Patrick Dempsey, right?
correct?
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, so
Yeah.
so Joe McHale's a killer. Got it.
Yeah,
Right, yeah,
he probably is.
yeah.
Actually,
What,
He's
be
one of
revealed
one
to
of
him.
4 killers. They're gonna do 4 killers this
Bringing-
time.
there you go.
Bringing back the Jamie Kennedy character, however you feel about the actor, probably wouldn't be a terrible idea because from what I do know,
I
'cause
love
have
his
friends.
character.
Yeah, well, from what I know, and
He
from
was
what
the
I know
movie
about-
guy, you know.
Yeah. exactly. He's kind of like the heart of the franchise to a degree
Yeah.
in terms of like he is sort of the audience talking to the audience in a sense. But like,
Yeah.
I have friends that love all the schlock franchises, and a lot of them have said like because I mean spoilers, he gets killed in one of the movies and stuff, and like
He dies in 2. He does in the second one, yeah.
jeez, I forgot. I thought it was the third one, but anyway,
No, he dies in the
him
second
going-
one. But his niece, who's
Yes.
in 5,
Yes, right.
she takes over his role,
And she plays a videotape from him
Yes.
that he made before he died. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Kevin Smith was there with Jason Mewes.
Okay. All right.
Hey, we all got a mortgage to pay. Why
So
not?
that was done because Wes Craven cameoed
Yes.
right in
Yeah.
Great
Jay and
Silent
Silent
Bob,
Bob,
yeah.
and then
Correct.
that was
Yes.
the
That was funny.
right.
And then they did the running gag because it was what's her name? Shannon Doherty, who was like in it.
Yes.
And then he was like, Brenda? Or like one of the cards was like Brenda, and she was like, Dick. You know, it was like, yeah, that was a Walmart, yeah. A Walmart, mall rats. Why did I say Walmart? God,
There's a
that
Walmart reference. Yeah.
yeah, Walmart reference. I don't know if you've seen that commercial.
Walmart
I don't know why.
I mean,
said
the
Walmart.
mall
Rats.
is probably a Walmart by now, so I mean,
Yeah,
you
could be.
say that.
Jeez.
I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. But hey, you know what? Hey, franchises, you got to keep them alive, right? But yeah, like I said, Fantastic Four. It looks like we're seeing it on Tuesday. We're seeing that trailer finally, which it's kind of interesting. I get it why they're doing it because February 4th, F4.
Mhm.
It makes sense, but it's just nowadays, and I think somebody mentioned that maybe in the chat or I saw it somewhere, but it's like, yeah, it seems like now Super Bowl, it's like, yeah, you can release it then, but it's like there's always like, you know, even with commercials, they start releasing things before the actual game.
Yep.
You know, they don't care really hey, let's wait till the actual day. You know, and of course it's different now where you're like, oh, you have a 30-second TV spot, and at the end of it, they go, watch the full trailer online. You know, that's a whole new thing too. But I'm just like, hey, you know what? Fine. There's still going to be a 30-second spot during the game for sure.
To promote the actual trailer. I mean,
Yeah.
when Multiverse of Madness in 22 was coming out, they dropped the full trailer before the game started.
Yep.
And then they had a 30-second teaser to then promote, even though the trailer was already out. Like, it was just like, oh, by the way, in case you're wondering, the trailer's already out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I don't know how it works too with like modern streaming and stuff now that it's kind of different, but before streaming kind of took over in cable TV or whatever, in that process, basically, and I think it's still the case, you know, the 30-second slot in the Super Bowl costs like millions upon millions of dollars.
Yeah, it's
like
insane now.
It's like
Yeah,
$5 to $8 million, you know, or something like that.
for 30 seconds. So I mean, yes, it's the Super Bowl, and people do watch. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how if it changed at all between, you know, the streaming rights and everything else. But it makes more sense. Just 30 seconds. Here you go. Here's a teaser trailer to the full trailer. You can watch full trailer online. Watch it now and that kind of
Doesn't
thing.
always translate, right? Flash, the Flash. I'm sorry, that didn't really translate.
I'm pretty sure the Super Bowl wouldn't have saved that movie regardless. I think showing more of the movie actually would have turned more people off before the film came out.
It was kind of funny though. I remember because I remember the trailer. I went to my friend's house. I was having a party and I was like, shit. And I remember I was going like, well, the Flash trailer is going to show up. But I mean, like, I probably should shoot some kind of video. And so, like, when it finally dropped, which was before the game started, the full trailer, so I was like, all right, watch the trailer. And then I recorded, like, a little video. Like, I went into one of, like, the spare rooms, and I did it. And, you know, just like, oh, yeah, trailer, you know, it was a good trailer. I enjoyed the trailer. And then, of course, when it finally showed up, like, in the middle of the game, like, people that I was there with who cares about all, you know, the stuff, they were literally like, what? Michael Keaton's back? I'll go see that. And I was like, well, maybe this is actually going to do well. I think this might be a hit. I was thinking like, okay, good things. I was gauging the room, but none of them saw it.
Exactly.
Nobody gave a shit after.
A lot of those people
you
just
know,
waited till the thing came out on HD and just watched the Keaton scenes on YouTube.
pretty
You know,
much.
just like
Yeah, that's pretty much
Yeah.
what
Well,
happened.
so Warner Brothers hasn't put out a Super Bowl trailer since Flash, right? Am I wrong on
No.
that one?
No,
No.
they haven't.
Sounds about right.
They have not. And
Okay.
I think they're doing a smart thing this year by, hey, you know what? Crypto is going to be is already looking like the fan favorite. Warner Brothers Discovery owns Animal Planet. They're going to bring back the Puppy Bowl thing, which, you know, and then they're just going to do something exclusive with that. They're going to have some kind of sneak peek where it's going to probably be maybe the more of a clip with crypto that we've already seen. And I'm like, yeah, do that. Utilize what you can where you're not spending $5-10 million on a fucking TV spot. You're utilizing the resources you have. And crypto is going to be a fan favorite. It already is. So why not bring back the Puppy Bowl? You know, again, that demographic is gonna go a long way. You know, so yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
So,
Dogs sell.
Dogs do sell.
Dogs sell.
Yeah, there's the dog one. I think they had a cat one. I don't know if it went away or not, but Amanda's always putting it on DVR. So if there's even like a commercial that she's not vibing with, we immediately go back over to watch the Puppy Bowl. So
there you go.
Definitely obsessed, and I'm sure there's a big audience for that too. I would be very surprised if you didn't see, even if it's just repeats of the trailers we've already seen, that the big studio, you know, heavy hitters are not going to be seen at the Super Bowl in some way. Whether it's, you know, just the Superman trailer we've already seen, or if it's just some other movie. But I want to see what Jurassic Park looks like. I really hope that turns out to be good. And hopefully Fantastic Four knocks it out of the park, because I think Marvel needs that win.
I heard no dinosaurs this time. No dinosaurs.
Oh man!
Hey, if you saw the leak, if you saw the leak, Scarlett Johansson becomes a dinosaur. So that's
he becomes
a
velociraptor.
What?
Yeah. Did you see that, Sig? There was like somebody made an AI trailer, a fake AI trailer. Yeah, they were posting like screenshots of it,
and then the video has like shaky camera, and they added like fake audiences. Ooh, they're clapping. It's bad. It's so.
It was literally a raptor with a ponytail, like a blonde ponytail.
Epic.
Hilarious.
It's bad, but it's fun bad.
It was. I saw that, and I remember I went to it was like around Christmas time, because I went to my dad's house and he was having like his Christmas breakfast with like family there, and like his wife's family, and one of his wife's daughters is a big Jurassic Park fan. And I was like, "Did you see what happened today?" I asked her, I was like, "Did you see what got like, you know, what was going all around the internet?" She's all, "No, I didn't." I'm like, "Well," I had to show her. I was like, "Apparently, there's a leaked trailer for Jurassic World, and check this out." And I showed her the image. She started cracking up, and I was like, "Yeah, it's fake, but it's hilarious. Like,
it's real though. It's real. It's happening."
Yeah, no, it's real. Hey, you know, wouldn't be surprised. No, Gareth Edwards. I trust Gareth Edwards and David Coep. I just think that's gonna be. We're not. You know, they're gonna do the Jaws and, you know, what Gareth Edwards did with the first with his Godzilla. They're gonna keep the dinosaurs. Use the dinosaurs when you need to use the dinosaurs. Don't just have them there like, hey, we need, you know, here's a dinosaur action, blah blah blah. No, they're gonna treat it like, hey, minimal. When they need
build to it.
Yes, build it, you know, which they should. That's what they need. It needs a little bit of that. I mean, you know, the Jurassic World franchise got a little crazy, especially at the end there when everybody came back, and it was just like, hey, we got locusts. Hey, we got, you know, it's like we got all kinds of shit that's going on, and it just didn't quite work. You know, you got a clone girl. Hey. And she's made from all this kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, see what you're messing with here. But at the same time, it was just, I liked Fallen Kingdom. I thought it was really well done, to be honest. I thought the ending was really like well done. I thought that was a better ending than both the other movies, to be honest. I thought it was more suspenseful. But, you know, and then of course when it went into Dominion, it was like, oh, the whole gang's back. Then it was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, he just threw everything at you on that point.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
It made $1 billion.
Yeah, it still made $1 billion.
Yeah, I don't know how.
It's
just because
is the Fallen Kingdom? Is the Fallen Kingdom one the haunted house one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was from the French director or Spanish?
J.A. Bayona.
Yeah. He's French, right? Or Spanish?
I have no idea.
Spanish?
He was Hispanic.
No idea.
He's Hispanic. Yeah, I don't know why I thought French. Maybe I'm thinking of the fucking director of goddamn Amelia Perez. Yeah. See, no, but he's a good filmmaker. He's a good filmmaker, and I thought he did a good job of what I mean. Like I said, it started getting a little like crazier with like the little girl, she's a part of a clone when it comes to all this genetic messing around. I was like, okay, it's interesting, but I just thought that at that mansion when things were happening, they had that crazy. It was like a mix of like a T-Rex and a Velociraptor.
Yeah.
That thing was pretty fucking scary, and I was like, it was a good. Maybe like what happened before that was a little messy, but I thought the ending, like the final act, I thought was really strong. So.
Yeah, Dino Raptor.
But all that money, allowed them to make that Epic Universe park. I mean, that thing looks.
Yeah.
Insane. Have you seen that? It's crazy.
Yeah. What exactly was that again? I remember seeing something about it.
Well, Epic Universe has like a dark universe world where it's all the universal monsters, and then there's.
That's right. Yeah, I saw that. The trailer with
How to Train Your Dragon Park.
Yeah.
There's another one. There's a whole bunch.
It's Super Mario, and it's
yeah,
and then also another Harry Potter one too.
Where's that going to be again? Florida? Is that Florida or here?
Yeah,
Florida, here in Florida.
Yeah, Florida's just that's just the biggest area that they can do, and it's just it's the most traffic. But so the Harry Potter thing is like the
Fantastic Beasts.
No, so if it's somewhat Fantastic Beasts,
a little bit of both.
But it's the main it's the main wizard hub, the Ministry of Magic, and there's continuing. They even got the actress to come back and film stuff, but I guess Umbridge escapes Azkaban or something, and you have to like track her down or whatever the case is, or something to that degree. Yeah. I was like, all right, that's cool. That's better than the last two Fantastic Beasts movies. So I guess
Did you see that? You know how they made that resort, that hotel resort that was all Star Wars, and it bombed badly. And so then they were like, hey, we're gonna turn into Office.
No. So it's actually better than that. So the hotel had a. I forget what I don't know if I don't know if it was made for, it was going to be shown to people later on, or if it was just made for investors. I forget what it was, but it was like a promotional video, like advertising the resort. And they even got one of the guys from like he's like this young kid actor. Does a voice on The Opposites or whatever it was called, the alien show that was done by
Solar Opposites.
Solar Opposites.
The one from the Goldbergs, right?
Yeah, that kid.
Yeah.
And so the video was awful. My friend, my roommate at the time was a hardcore Star Wars fan, so he found the leak and he showed it to me, and it got everywhere. It went everywhere. And before this, there was so many reservations, like it was full. And then the video leaked, and a lot of people saw it, and it looked like the hotel looked like garbage. Like it looked horrible. Like it looked like if you took the Orville and then threw it down a flight of stairs. Like it was bad. So
that's great.
All of a sudden, though, the reservations, because to reserve there was like $4,000 or something for like a night or two. It was like something ridiculous, and
for 2 days and park access. And I mean, they were going for this immersive experience, but
no, they weren't.
Disney's already expensive to begin with, and it's probably the most expensive thing you could ever put in Disney.
So no joke, like the video was so bad that people were pulling out of the reservation.
Cancel.
Yep. And then I remember there was a small period of time where they were clearly using like paid influencers to be like, oh, it's great, I'm having a great time and all this stuff. And no joke, I don't even know, I forget the name of the YouTube channel, but she does really, really good work. She was a Star Wars fan, and she was a Disney fan, and she'd been to many parks, and she was
Jenny something. Yeah.
She did a whole like 2-hour video about how terrible the whole experience was, and right the night before she posted the video, they officially had canceled the park, or canceled the hotel. It was they probably lost, I don't know how much money, but a lot.
So many millions. Yeah.
Disaster. Like it'll be part of like defunct land, if it isn't already.
Right.
There should be a documentary on this whole thing.
Oh, I'm sure
There
somebody's
should
got to
be,
be doing
yeah.
that. Yeah.
They should
Yeah,
film a
It's
horror
gonna be
movie in
just
that hotel.
office space. It's
The-
just going to
the
be
worst
office
part-
space now.
The worst part about it is I've been to Disney World and I've been to the Star Wars part and everything, and like it's not on Tatooine. It's this own new planet for whatever reason because they want to keep
No
it
reason.
Yeah, I don't know, but anyway, they do have they have cantinas. They have places that you can go in the world, and I got to be honest, some of it's sequel trilogy, which I'm not a huge fan of, but like for the most part, like it does feel like Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at this, and this was like before the hotel I think had come out. So I'm remembering that, and I'm like, why do they just get these people to work on the hotel? Like, why does it look like? I mean, the later someone made a joke, but the holding cells that you see in Andor that he's stuck in about halfway through the season, they looked
Mhm.
about the same as the actual hotel rooms that you go to in the hotel. It's like, why do I want to go to a prison cell? Like, I'm not Princess Leia. Like, no, I want to go into
I
a
am.
luxury. I mean, if you want to, that's that's your choice and stuff.
wanna
Maybe
sit on
that-
a-
No, I'm Princess Leia. I don't care about going to the hotel though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
when you're
but,
making
like,
a checklist of fun things to do with Star Wars, prison
Yeah.
is one of them. So,
Yeah. I remember seeing those videos, and I think I saw the video that you guys were talking about when she was just kind of like going through the whole thing, and it's just like I said, it looked cheap. It looked cheap, and it was just like, well, you're spending so much to be immersed into this world, and it's just pure shit, and you could just be like, oh yeah, they didn't think about this one at all. I mean, I can only imagine what it was like trying to get that thing up and running. And the struggles that they did, and all the corners they cut and everything, and they ended up being just a complete failure. And it's just, good Lord, man. Yeah, another winner from that world. But hey,
Good old
what can you
Disney.
do?
Good job,
speaking of
Disney.
winners,
They
how
have
do
the
we-
money.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I just said they have the money. Who are you talking
Yeah,
about?
Gonna ask about Captain America. I mean, the money
Oh.
wasted on that one.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be interesting. We got 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Should I haven't bought my tickets yet. Should I be scared?
They've
I
already
mean,
sold
what
out
do we-
everywhere.
Yeah, I know. Sold out everywhere. What do we do? I don't know. I probably should, because I know my dad and my brother and my nephew. The last time I waited too long, it was actually funny because when I saw Den of Thieves, I waited way too long. I was like, oh shit, I forgot to buy the tickets. The theater I had, the whole top part was completely sold out. I was like, oh shit. And I was like, oh, we got to go a different time, guys. It's okay. It's only going to be an hour later. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. When it comes to Captain America, it's just one of those where I'm like, I'm not excited for it, but I'm going to go see it. It's another chapter.
I'm just more confused to a degree because one, they've done a shit ton of reshoots, so they probably increased the budget almost by double, which is a problem.
It's
but
definitely not
I mean,
100.
they say it's only 180 million that they spent.
No.
Like, there's no way.
no fucking way. No,
Yeah.
but on top of
Oh,
that,
tax
like,
write-offs. They
Oh,
got rid of
yeah.
Batgirl.
Yeah, like
So-
a background thing. Yeah.
They took the back row tax runoffs.
so
Tax incentives. There's that too.
so I'm a fan of in the comics. I'm a fan of these villains and stuff, but they're using like Hulk villains in a Captain America movie, which is already a weird choice, right? But I mean, I like those villains, so I kind of want to see them utilized.
Right.
But I'm already skeptical because, and again, I can say this with no spoilers because I think everyone who's seen the trailers knows. But like the leader is a very interesting villain. He is, as smart as Hulk is strong, and he uses his brains to, enact terrorism and cause, frustration and just like, that's his ploy. But
He's
like
Lex Luthor, basically,
I guess, or he's
like a brainiac a little bit.
Yeah, or a brainiac,
Kind of.
the mastermind that counteracts the brawn.
Yeah.
The other thing though is that like, the Red Hulk. Now, if you know the comic books, the whole point of Red Hulk, the fucked up thing about him is that he basically, this is, Thunderbolt Ross, who has chased the Hulk his entire career pretty much, and then he becomes what he hates to then fight Hulk. You know what I mean? So him, and from what the trailers are showing, unless it's a complete misdirect, which I doubt, but like the fact that he is Harrison Ford, like he's not the same actor that we've known, even though I love Harrison Ford, but it's not the same actor that we've known the whole way up. And on top of that, it's this manipulation tactic. It clearly looks like, somehow he's been made the Red Hulk and doesn't either seem to be aware of it or has kept it so quiet that no one else except him knows about it. So I don't know. Like I'm hoping it's the latter, if that's the case, because that's sort of the huge reflection of what it's really the only important thing about Red Hulk is that he's a guy that hates Hulk so much he, manipulates his own body to become, that's what he hates.
The based on like looking at the trailers itself, you look at it in the sense of what happens with Isaiah. This is the Manchurian Candidate, like kind of homage at that point, and it's queued up by music. So the idea behind, like, you see some of the other like clips that have been put out in the trailers. I don't think Thaddeus knows exactly what's happening to him, and that he's been drugged of some sort, not even realizing it, because you see at some points where he's kind of a little bit starting to rage, but not necessarily understanding what it is. And when you see that final transformation, this is not someone that's necessarily in control. So this is, it's an interesting way of like the leader trying to destabilize a country and necessarily turn to something and go back to chaos. It's like a Joker thing. I just want to watch the world burn because,
Yeah. I mean, there's interesting ideas for sure and stuff like that, but it's still just kind of an interesting take. And even more so, I still wish that they had utilized Betty Ross a lot more, because if you guys know, she also becomes Red She-Hulk at some point. And if you guys have read Immortal Hulk, that plays up a lot because of all the different like things like Bruce reflecting and all these people who have been fucked up by Hulkisms and things that have just anyone who comes into contact with him. Rick Jones isn't even a player in this whole thing, which is crazy to me, because like he's such a reflection on Bruce and the books and stuff like that, and he, as far as I can tell, he doesn't really exist in the MCU unless I'm wrong. Does anyone know any different?
No, he does.
No, but Doc Samson does.
Doc Samson, I was about to say Doc Samson.
That's right. Phil from Modern Family, right?
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Doc Samson. Yeah, I mean, even Doc Samson would have been an interesting thing to utilize. But again, I think the Hulk rights just have fucked up a lot of plans and stuff like that. Hulk, in my opinion, is one of the, most underutilized and wrongly adapted versions of the character within the MCU, and to the point where they're using his own villains in another movie that's not a Hulk movie. So it's
and they're selling this movie with Red Hulk so much, and he's going to be only in it for like 9 minutes at the end.
Yeah,
probably.
I mean, it's more. I would say it's less Red Hulk, and it's more, hey, we got Harrison Ford to be Red Hulk. Isn't that cool? And everyone's just
look at that. We got a Red Hulk that looks like Harrison Ford. That guy that you love so much. Yeah, I know. I remember like watching football with friends. They were like, "There's a Red Hulk. Hulk's red now." I mean, literally, like and I'm just like, well. And then of course I have to do that thing where I'm like, well, let me explain. And I just kind of like, give a little rundown and everything like that. And then they're just like, well, that just sounds dumb. I'm like, yeah, I'm not really excited for it that much either. I'm going to see it. I mean, my whole big emphasis on like, why, Sam, he's not juiced up. He's not a superhuman. He's going to fight this guy. He's just got, he's got vibranium in like his suit, I guess, and his wings. That's probably what's going to help him. But at the same time, it's still just like, you're still full on human.
So you guys, maybe you guys heard different. You can give me your opinions. But what I heard or through the grapevine was that, like, again, utilize more Hulk stuff. Like She-Hulk, I guess, was supposed to be in this movie at one point. But when the show didn't go over the best, they reshot that, or took her entirely out of the movie. I don't know how legit that is.
She was never in it. That was just a
that was a
I think that's kind of one of those Ryan Reynolds Deadpool, where this person's supposed to be in kind of thing. I did hear that originally. I don't know if it's one of the other two versions of this film that we're never going to see. It was supposed to be kind of like a backdoor entry for World War Hulk, which, especially if we know Secret War is coming up, like it's probably not going to. It probably wouldn't have made a lot of sense building up to that, because that's coming up fairly soon unless they kick it down the road.
World War Hulk constantly makes its rounds into the ether as a rumor, and nothing ever pans out from it. I highly doubt there's any setup whatsoever for it.
How many times have we heard that that's going to be like a thing,
Exactly.
I mean, obviously they were like, hey, Planet Hulk's going to come, and then like Thor Ragnarok was essentially like the just tiny little bit of Planet Hulk that we could maybe get, and that was it. I was like, oh, okay.
I just
like,
hope
oh yeah, there's an animated movie that we could watch.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah.
Well, I was just go ahead.
sorry. No. Go ahead. My bad. Sorry.
It's too late because I literally was just going to make a joke, and now the timing is way off. So go ahead.
Okay. I was just going to make the.
Oh, go. Just go.
Stop being polite.
Oh my lord! This is like being at a fucking 4-way stop. No, you go. Oh shit!
Four-way car accident happens and no one wins.
Yeah.
All of Hulk's best stories or all of his best moments take place off screen, which drives me insane. Because Hulk is not in my like top 5, but he is one of my favorite Marvel characters to read about. Like he is when he's good, he's very good. And they keep hinting at all of these things that we love from the Hulk mythos, but it's like, yeah, you just missed it. It happened off screen here, but hey, look at this, isn't that? And it's just it drives you nuts.
Yeah, maybe when the universe gets rebooted, they'll finally do like a traditional Hulk story and really give it the authentic version that we'd hoped it would be. But to the stuff about Red Hulk before, I just wanted to say this. I don't know if this is true. This also kind of came from the same source that I got the whole World War Hulk from. But the belief was that even though they cut it kind of out of the trailer, we obviously know that there's the assassination attempt. The what I got was that Thunderbolt Ross basically freaks out because he thinks his life is under attack, and that's when he goes to the leader and gets the injection to make him stronger. But he doesn't realize he's going to be turned into a Hulk or whatever, but it's supposed to be some sort of enhancer. Like he's supposed to get the super soldier serum, and he ends up getting the Hulk. He becomes Red Hulk as a process. But
the guy who tries to assassinate him is Eli Bradley,
right?
Who is the other super soldier that was in
Isaiah?
Isaiah Bradley. Yeah. But his grandson Eli will. If they squeeze this plot thread in too, gets a blood transfusion at one point. And becomes Patriot from the Young Avengers. So using Eli Bradley is interesting. I mean, Isaiah Bradley
set that up in the
in the show
Soldier. I also heard that Falcon or Captain America, whatever you want to call him, that he gets enhanced as well. And I don't know if it comes from Eli Bradley or whatever, which is why he's able to.
He's right. It's Isaiah. Yeah.
So they have that connectivity already. So I don't know if they mix certain stories to make him a little bit stronger or whatever. Because again, I think we all have the same concerns. How is he going to take on Red Hulk?
Yeah.
And if he gets enhanced, I'm not totally against it, but
no, he should.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why a lot of people are like, Bucky should have been it. Bucky should have been it. It's like, well, okay, he's not. So now it's like, well, how?
Yeah, but Bucky's problem is mentally. Like,
mentally,
like,
he could just like snap and just start fucking.
And he's afraid of that. I mean, it might not happen, but he's afraid of it happening. Yeah. So he probably doesn't want it anyway right now.
But I thought they emphasized pretty good with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I actually enjoyed that show. I thought some people were like, and I was like, it was a good show.
It got a little cheesy at the end, but I did like it overall. Like I was like, that's fine. And they brought in Madripoor, which was cool. As a Wolverine fan.
That was sweet. I think the only thing was like in the show, the only thing that really fell off of is once he gets the costume and once he looks more like how he does in the books and everything, then that whole like him coming down, talking to the senators, like that scene should have been entirely like rewritten and like just do better. Then he flies off.
A little preachy, yeah.
It was. Yeah. No, but like in the books, it was a whole different set of circumstances too, because with Bucky was getting over his trauma, but Bucky and himself felt at the time that he had to take up the mantle because he had seen the level of destruction that he had done as Winter Soldier. Cap gets assassinated, and he's the one that takes up the mantle when Cap is gone, basically. So there was this kind of him trying to do a redemptive arc, and like the trauma is kind of sidestepped in place of him trying to, reclaim his life in the modern.
Yeah, but he also has a really good support system in the comic to push him to make those decisions, whereas in the movie universe he doesn't really. So there's that too.
So I think they make it make sense within the MCU in terms of why that's made. Yeah.
This year I'm gonna go see all the Marvel and DC stuff that comes out this year, but for me, Daredevil and Lanterns is all like really
Yeah.
amped up about. I'm so amped for both of those.
I mean,
So-
Daredevil, we're getting that. I mean, a month later, which is great.
I know. I'm so
I
happy.
mean, Lanterns, we're gonna get like they're starting to film right now, which is
Yeah,
cool.
so next
I
year
mean,
probably, but that's fine.
Yeah, we won't get
wait.
it for next year, but at the same time, I mean, the fact that they're like kicking, they're doing I'm kind of wondering what was in that those camera tests and stuff.
yeah.
Actors.
Yeah, I mean,
Actors were there. Actors were
in
there.
that
Well,
game.
what? Actors are in
Yeah.
the camera test.
Locations were
A
in
couple
those
of
camera
them,
tests.
one or
Yeah.
two.
I mean, like, what's his name posted that on the stage, and it was just there was no Aaron Pierre chair. It was Kyle
Yeah.
Chandler, him, Garrett, whatever
Garrett
the hell.
Dillahunt,
Yeah,
McDonald,
and then Kelly.
McDonald's.
Kelly McDonald.
Kelly
Yeah,
McDonald.
Kelly McDonald.
Yeah.
I just think when I think of Green Lantern stuff, like how I met Dave.
Yeah.
And then like having access to the previous versions of this show, and then now seeing that there's actually a show happening. I'm like, this. It's just cool. I'm so happy right now.
I know. Yeah. I think Lanterns has potential to be like this, like the best thing that's coming out of the DCU. I mean, yeah, Superman has a lot riding on, and that's for damn sure. Especially since it just seems like it can't catch a break when it comes to controversy. But
now it's being sued.
now it's being sued. But that's not something new. Yeah. So today,
that always happens.
The Schuster and Siegel estate is suing because of territory, copyrights.
Yeah,
And at first, like when you read it, you go, "Oh, this is stupid." And then, especially, I was like, "Well, isn't the grandchildren in the fucking movie?" And they are. But then I was like, and then you start digging, you go, "Oh, this is not the first time this happened. This has happened anytime they release like a new Superman property." I think this happened with Superman and Lois. It happened with Man of Steel as well. There's like an article dated back in 2012, 2013, which like just right before Man of Steel got released, they came to an agreement with the same thing. It's just the estate trying to get their cut.
Yeah, they're getting settlement money and stuff.
Yeah.
It's all before like Superman becomes like public domain, right? They want to get their share of the pie.
It's just certain territories that with copyrights, like the British territories, like your Canada,
Ireland,
Australia.
Yep, and there's one more.
Which apparently I don't know the logistics of it, but it's just like if you're releasing in those territories, they're supposed to get like a certain cut, and they weren't. So then every time this happens, certain things happens, they just have to come up with a deal, and it's gonna go away real quickly. It always does. I mean, but at the same time, we're talking about 2025 news and 2025 fandoms. So now it's like, oh shit, now everybody's gonna be you utilizing this for negativity, and it's just like, especially after obviously we're the Superman footage, the flying footage that's controversial, and then of course I mean, the Tom Whaling thing was not a big thing, but it was just like, oh man, it was like,
somebody save him.
Dude, he's coming here next weekend. I'm going to MegaCon, and I was actually going to buy a ticket to meet him and Rosenbaum and everybody. And I saw that article, and I was like, is he still going to go? So far, it says he is, but
don't be in a car.
Don't be surprised within the next week.
I'm going to take him to Arby's.
Dude, the way I look
Make
at
sure
it,
you're driving.
I will be.
The way I look at it, it sounded like he had a fun Sunday.
Yeah.
Decided he wanted some roast beef sandwiches.
Who doesn't?
And I don't blame him. That's good. That's good drunken food right there. You got some drunken munchies. You want some roast beef sandwiches? Great stuff with that horsey sauce or that Arby's sauce. Yeah. I don't blame him, but I'm like, dude, why'd you get behind the wheel? But he wasn't like falling down drunk. You read the article, they even state like in the report, he wasn't slurring, he wasn't this, but he just blew a 0.08. Yeah. So he just, but
he's Superman. That's like nothing.
That's nothing. We've seen Superman drink before. Superman 3. Come on. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a Justin Timberlake level of intoxication.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like it's not even like it wasn't like, it just sucks that happened. And then of course,
I'm glad no one was hurt overall. I mean, that
happened like 4
that's
hours.
another thing too.
That happened like 4 hours north of where I live. I was like, oh, he got arrested in Wairika? That's funny.
Yeah. And then apparently he actually he was at Applebee's, but then the Applebee's food's so bad he wanted some fucking Arby's.
He's like, I gotta cleanse my palate with a nice
Yeah.
Arby's.
He got drunk at Applebee's.
Like, I had a steak at Applebee's. That thing was like fucking rubber, man. And I was like, I gotta get some roast beef sandwiches. No, yeah. I mean, I don't blame them. You know,
You get a
Applebee's
cheaper
is
meal at
Shot he
Applebee's
had.
than most fast food places these days.
Yeah.
That mugshot he had, he looked fucking blasted though.
Yeah, he looked like he was a little.
Yeah, that was not a flattering.
But he was so
He looked-
polite. I mean, come on,
He
he wasn't
looked
belligerent.
fucking blasted in that mugshot, bro. He looked bad. It was bad.
Just the eyes. The eyes. Look
Yeah, definitely.
That's what'll do it. But at the same time, you know, when you're in that situation, it's like there's only so much you could do with your eyes. Yeah. I mean, he looked like how I look every Saturday.
At least they were open.
I mean, when I was like 21, first starting to start drinking alcohol, we had a Jack in the Box right across the street from our apartment complex. So it's like, okay, everyone just pack in the car. Who's the least drunk? Okay, you drive. just go here really quick. Order everyone's food and let's just get out and fucking not even worry about it.
Yeah, it's not a big deal, but it was just like Jesus Christ. And then of course the lawsuit thing was like, this has been a rough week, but you know, I do want to get your guys' opinions on I mean, it seems like it was so long ago because it showed up on Sunday, and I've been talking about it all week. You know,
I think a lot of
but
people about it
obviously, like when we get that new Superman footage and we see the flying footage, you know, I gave my opinion. Yeah, it's a little off. Is it terrible? No. It's a little off, but actually, Chris, you go first. What were your thoughts? Fully, I know you've talked about it too.
It's one of those things where, if we're gonna be nitpicky about it,
yeah,
I've got better things to nitpick over a movie than just like a quick shot that hasn't really been fully finalized yet. Right. And you know, if in the when it's all we got, yeah, we're gonna overanalyze it and everything like that. It's okay. It's a cool flying shot. You know, it's just seeing it in action, but in a quick couple of seconds. So it's not enough for me to like make a whole judgment on it. I'm just glad we get to see him fly. Yeah. He looks like he's having a good time.
That means John Peters didn't produce this.
Yeah, I mean he's flying around out there. Don't have no context of when this is at this point.
Context is key.
Yeah, so. Okay, I mean, I'm not going to lie. It looks a little off, but it's not going to be one of those things that's going to totally take me out of it in that moment. You know, now if the whole movie has a lot of janky stuff, but the amount of time they've had for it and how, you know, James Gunn's track record when it comes to CG it's not perfect, but it's a lot better than we've seen. He's done very well, and he takes a lot of pride in it, and he's had the time to do this. So I think when it comes down to it, when we get the time to finally see it all done, there's going to be stuff that's going to look off, but if that's what people are going to be nitpicking about, I think we got to look at the substance of the whole thing. If that's it, then the movie's going to be doing well, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's just like one of those things where it's like, yeah, again, context. And I even said that too. It's like, I mean, my thing was like, it just seems like his face just does not change really at all in that whole like 2.5, 3 seconds. So it's like, it kind of throws you off, and the hair kind of threw me off. I think the hair kind of like, when I was watching it more again, I'm like, isn't his hair a little bit more like longer? And it just doesn't feel like it's, I don't know. I think the hair kind of like threw me off a little bit too.
I love it when they start saying, "Oh, it's AI." They totally messed it up with AI at that point. It's like, you know what? Why not? Let's just throw AI.
Yeah, and then James Gunn's like, it's like his face isn't, the background isn't, and I'm like, that's cool. I'm glad that it's a real background. Mm-hmm. It's really his face. Obviously, you know, and it's probably really his body. The cape and the hair, I think, are CG, and I think. Yeah, I think there's just a little, and then of course there's the color gradient. And there's the lens is the biggest thing, and I think that's what's causing the eyes to look a little off, like, you know, and that's why people are like, at first when you see like one eye's kind of going that way and one eye, obviously there's people that are just going too crazy with that and just going, he's like looking in two opposite directions. I'm like,
your gatekeeping is showing.
I'm gatekeeping the gatekeeper.
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about like them that really just want to say, well, okay, we know where you're like. Yeah, that's fine. Go
pretty much. Yeah, you could pretty much guess that. I mean, yeah, trust me, my mentions were a mess on Sunday, and I was just
again, you're getting your paychecks just like I am from WB.
Exactly.
So.
You know, I'm trying to.
I'm invited to the after party in a couple of weeks. So.
I mean, it is awkward, but like you shove a camera straight up in someone's face, and it's your eyes do not know how to look at it properly. So it's fine. Actually, when my best friend and I were talking about the trailer, like he's not big on Superman. He didn't actually like Superman for the longest time. He was Batman. But then it wasn't until Man of Steel that I got him back into the character. So we're talking about the new trailer. And then between him and I, we have this running joke from back in our Star Fox days about do a barrel roll. Yeah. So he sent me the gift of that. I was like, oh, that'll probably be the big takeaway from this. And then it turned into this whole eye thing. So, I mean, the internet finds whatever they want to pick apart. And once we get another trailer, it'll probably be forgot about in the normal news cycle where everything gets forgotten about for the next thing. So, I mean, it is worth commenting on, but it's not going to be this thing that when we sit down, we're like, oh, there's the eye scene, and we walk out of the theater.
This is why I don't want to follow movies anymore.
Can't blame you.
It could be difficult, but that's my job.
Yeah. Well, you can have it.
I know. Yeah, trust me. It's just that's what you do. I mean, I still love it. The thing is like I'll always give my honest critique, and I was like, I'm not going to sit there and be like it's perfect. I'm not going to do that. I was like, there is something off about it, and then of course you get the two different fandoms going back and forth, and you see people trying to utilize the first flight Man of Steel scene as well. Look at his face in this shot. And it's like again, context. He's trying to fly for the first time, so he's like doing that whole. And I said, even I do say like there is a shot of Cavill where it's like right in his face and his big ass fucking shoulders in this tight costume. He's like this. It looks weird. I'll be like, I'll give you that. That looks a little strange, but it's quick. But that's about it because it's just like right in his face. But at the same time, he's giving a lot of emotion. And I made that joke too, because they always said that Cavill doesn't give a lot of emotion, doesn't smile. And, but I was like, but the context is he's flying for the first time. This Superman, not flying for the first time. So then I'm like, well, okay, he's very stone-faced and it's just, he's used to doing this. Like it's nothing new for him. But I think there could have still been a little bit of emotion when he does that barrel roll. Yeah. Just a little bit of like, and just like, I don't know, something, because his face just looks the same that whole 2.5, 3 seconds where I'm like, that's why people think it's a floating head, because it's just, there's no like change. But again, it's so quick and I don't know. And
but it's like, how do you film that? I mean, he's flying really fast, guys. Like,
exactly. That's the thing.
He's focused. He's dialed in.
I'm pretending he's really a real guy flying in the air in a camera.
Yeah, I mean, like it's very difficult. I mean, Tom Cruise was flying the jet that was, that was holding the camera.
Yeah, this is a Tom Cruise thing. He would just jump out of a plane and aim down towards the camera.
Exactly. No, but I mean, I know, Seek, you're going to be leaving pretty soon. But what were your like initial thoughts when you were seeing all that stuff, or were you even paying attention?
No, I don't really care. I mean, I'm gonna go see the movie. It's just like when I saw people make a big deal out of it, I was like, good. Then I don't need to join this conversation. Like, because it doesn't matter. It's there's 100 things you could say. Oh, it's not the finished product. It's not this. It's not that. It's whatever. It's like, hey, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'll see it when the movie comes out. I'm excited.
That's good. No, I'm glad. I mean, that's the thing. Is like you were looking at it as just like, hey, I just want to see something different, something new. And we've always had our discussions about like, you weren't exactly the biggest fan of like what Zach was doing. You understood it and you loved. That's how we connected.
And it's shot well. And I mean, and I love how it's shot. So like I had compliments of that movie too. Like I feel like I was in the middle. I was like 50-50 on that movie.
Pretty much,
and this is like, I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, but I just from the trailers, the fact that they're squeezing in crypto and a couple other elements, I'm like, this is neat because the tone is already different than what we've seen. And I like when tone changes in each iteration. So it's like, oh, good. We're going to get a different tone. We're going to get a world where Batman can meet a monster Clayface, maybe, or a Man-Bat. It's like, those are things I want to see. I don't like Batman just fighting grounded villains. So this seems like a world that's not super grounded, and I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what a lot of people are. It's like, right. So, it's like I always say, Gunn needs to find that middle ground of like Donner and Snyder, and that middle ground is the animated series. To be honest,
hell yeah.
It seems like there's like something like right there that it's like, shoot for that. You have a stylized, looks like universe with like how everybody's dressed and everything like that, and it's just going to be interesting because I mean, again, a decade later, I'm defending a director and a Superman again. But it's just crazier this time because, we're 10 years later, the internet's bigger, social media is bigger.
Sure.
And people are just like fandoms have just
opinions are abundant. Yeah.
Yeah. They've branched off into these like sectors where I'm just like, hey, and now, and I'm still waiting for my paycheck, WB. Come on.
It's coming.
They don't have the money.
I'm writing it now for you.
Hey, I'll take just an
just send him a Superman box with an Arby's sandwich in it.
Yeah, buy me like 5 roast beef sandwiches. I'll be fine.
Do you want your monthly pay or do you want the full year?
I know, right? No, I want it spread out throughout the year.
Okay,
yeah, get $8 a month.
Yeah, man. These 5 cents is really gonna need to be figured out how we're gonna divvy this up.
Spend it all in one place, please.
Yeah, but Seek, I know you gotta take off.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me. I'm sorry I couldn't stay longer.
Oh no, man. You're always welcome on, man. Always great to talk to you and catch up with you, man. So I appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us for a little bit.
Of course, and just for the few people like Hal and stuff in the chat, I'm wrapping up Venom vlog and Seek at Night, and I'm probably from like April onward. My only thing that I have planned right now for my YouTube channel is a Green Lantern podcast.
Oh,
so I think if you guys ever want to be on, let me know. I'd love to have you on, and I'm just going to go through the history of the character and then count down to the show and just kind of do what I did with the Venom vlog, but do it as a podcast. So yeah, hit me up if you're interested.
Love it, man. All right.
Cool. Thank you guys.
All right. Take it easy.
Peace. Bye.
All right. Who's next? Jordan, what are your thoughts?
Oh, you're saving Phil for last?
Of course, man. We already know. Just kidding. No. We'll get to Phil. We haven't even got to Paul or,
Okay.
Yeah. So, but, it's been a while since you've been on. Let's get your thoughts on what's going on.
I really haven't talked about it much. I mean, my only thing is I don't care. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I don't care. Because it's a 3-second shot from a film that people were freaking losing their shit over a month ago in the trailer. And then these 3 seconds of footage comes out. Oh my God, this movie looks mid. It looks terrible. Oh my God, James Gunn is the worst. He shouldn't have directed this movie. What happened to all of you helping this to get over 50 million views on YouTube alone? What happened to all the praise in the film? But then you see footage, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute. I loved this a month ago. Now I hate it. I don't like it now. I don't like it.
I think a little bit of botting, just a little bit. There must
no. These are fucking idiots. Sorry, just dumbasses on Twitter.
Twitter's
dumb.
Exactly.
I saw people on Facebook, saw people on Instagram. People are just dumb. And the thing is like they're losing their minds over. Yeah, they're losing their minds over a small little glimpse of something when they're praising a 2-minute trailer a month prior. It just doesn't make sense to me. Then again, it's the internet. What's going to happen is this movie's going to come out and everyone's going to love the movie or hate the movie, whatever. And no one's going to remember this 3 seconds. But for some reason, it bugged everybody. Like, it looks so strange. I'm like, okay, well, then what happened to like some of the weird shots in the trailer? But no one talked about that hardly. They only told, well, see this shot here? That's amazing. Look at this shot. It's like, okay, cool. But why are we focusing on this so much? And Droga's got a point in the comments. We don't even know if this is actually going to end up in the final cut of the movie.
It won't be.
100%.
They're going to fix it. They're totally.
It'll be Mark Ruffalo's Hulk. The missing
or it might
footage.
be a different angle entirely. So when he does the flip, it may be from a side angle. Who
knows?
Or
it goes straight up or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like people just get so worked up over it because literally nothing's happening. That's what it is. They're like, there's nothing happening, so they have to find something to complain about. It feels like at times, and I get it. Hey, it looks weird. But people are acting like this is like the worst thing ever. I'm like, okay.
Oh yeah, I hate that hyperbole bullshit.
Yeah, because people just they literally have too much time on their hands.
Yeah. Oh yeah, especially certain.
There's a lot of people that just want to say, "See, I told you it was bad," and
and I think like when you're talking about like how people were praising the trailer for, and I don't think it was like if you go down that rabbit hole of like the trailer reactions, like I did. I remember I did like 2 nights of just going down the rabbit hole and seeing people react to it, and I don't think it's necessarily like those type of people. It's just a loud, but
it's
at
the
the same time,
minority. But then there's a lot of people.
It's that, but then at the same time, there are criticisms like from like I think Forbes wrote an article that was like, THR also, and I think it's just one of those things. But again, like you said, I mean, we still have 6 months. And you better believe like either that shot is going to be tweaked a little bit, or they're going to like make sure it's like, yeah, but you know, it's just that's the advantage that Gunn has by being so by getting done with the filming so early and having basically almost a year to, you know, and there's a lot riding on it. And I think he was smart to be like, hey, we got to make sure that we have plenty of time just to, and then they're trying to like test things, you know, seeing what works. It seems like, you know, when they revealed the suit and all of a sudden it was like, oh, that was controversial. And it was like, oh shit. Okay. And then of course you see the first poster and the suit looks a lot cleaner. He obviously is, you know, very much stretched out. So it looks a lot better and everything. So it's like, oh, okay, cool. And then the trailer comes out. People love the trailer. And then of course this little footage comes out and then it becomes like a topic of controversy. It's dumb. Yeah. It's ridiculous how much, how crazy it's gotten, but you know, it's just, that's just the way it is now. I mean, this movie is under a fucking microscope. My God. I mean, I sit here and look at like, you know, especially the people who are the biggest detractors who want Zach to come back and do this. I'm like, do you really want Zach to come back to this madness? I'm like, I would never want him to come back to this madness. I'm like, Zach,
I want Zach to do his own shit.
Yeah, make your own,
make
you know,
and stuff. Even though I didn't like the Rebel Moon movies, I didn't like them. But
fine.
Do your own thing, man. Focus on your own stuff. And like this whole like cop thing he's doing next, like no CGI and he's going very practical or whatever, like the small thing.
Awesome.
Go for it. Yeah, do something. Awesome, man. Do your own thing. Don't work stay away from this because it's it's gonna cause all the
drama.
And
I'm sure he's seeing it in a distance and going like, Jesus, thank God I'm not.
Glad I got away from that. Yeah.
Dude,
yeah, Twilight of the Gods, exactly. Do more stuff. Just do whatever, man.
Yeah, it's like good luck, James. You know, Paul, we haven't heard your thoughts yet.
Oh, we don't want Phil to go before me? No.
I can wait. You, Phil. You better make it good, Phil.
Show and stuff like that. We'll get to Phil.
Yeah, Phil's opinion better knock it out of the park.
No. Where are we?
I can wait. I'm patient. I'm a good boy.
Exactly.
No, well, it's just that, you know, you guys know I wasn't really huge on the trailer to begin with, the original trailer that came out. So, I mean, this was more of the same for me personally. Like, you know, I mean, I liked the flying shot from the back. I thought that was fine. And then the twirl in the face, and I was like, oh, that's rough. And then, like, you know, and then I moved on, and then I saw the memes, and I was laughing pretty hard. But like, other than that,
memes.
I mean,
memes are fun. Yeah, I'll get any with that.
I mean, honestly, guys, like I've told you a bunch of times, like I know this supposedly is supposed to be a pretty decently budgeted movie, but it just has a weird look to me personally. Now, but I'm kind of with Chainsaw. Like, I mean, I think basically, you know, it could just be a trailer shot. It may not even be in the movie, or if it is in the movie, they will fix the face and the eyes or whatever, and then, you know, that'll be that. But yeah, I mean, if I see this movie opening weekend, it'll be because my friends take me. So I'll leave it at that. But like, hopefully I'll see it in time to talk to you guys about it, maybe in real time, like when it opens, and then we can have a discussion, and hopefully it's, you know, decent and stuff. But I mean, yeah, it's just, you know, in general, I think the movie just looks goofy. So him looking cross-eyed in a weird shot, like that, just, it, you know, it doesn't faze me, because it's like, for me, it's like, yeah, that, you know, that lines up. So it's like, that's just how I kind of see it, basically. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, I do agree that this movie is going to be under the most of any comic book movie of the last like 5 years, maybe more. This is under a microscope until the second it comes out, and then we'll see. But really, all it's going to matter is going to be the box office. It's not going to matter how good the critic rating is on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever, if it's got to perform. And if it doesn't perform, then I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. But
yeah,
like I said, I still see it happening where, like, if it doesn't make what it needs to make, they will either keep going forward, hoping that, you know, they can eventually make some sort of profit, or they'll just start to retweak, like the Flanagan and the James Mangold Swamp Thing or whatever. They'll always start making them like Elseworlds projects. I wouldn't be shocked. And maybe Jason Momoa's thing will get made Elseworlds too. I don't know how to feel about Supergirl. I like that actress. I liked her in House of Dragon and stuff. And everything that Rebecca's told us about Woman of Tomorrow or whatever, the Tom King story, which I still need to fucking read at this point.
I'm with you with that. I know.
Every fucking week we bring that up.
I'll buy you a copy for your birthday.
You know what's funny is like you
No,
weren't
you don't need
here
to do
last
that.
week.
No, I'm going to now. I'm going to do that now.
No,
I will buy you a copy for
Phil,
your birthday.
Phil, I'm going to forget that you said that, and I'm going to buy it for myself anyway. You've seen my collection on Instagram.
I know.
I'm gonna buy it for myself, and then you're gonna send it to me, and I'm gonna be like, bro, I have to now Venmo you what you paid to send this to me because I feel bad that
No, then you got a readable copy, you got a display copy, just like any normal
no,
collector.
No,
what
I
Chris
don't.
said.
I would either give it. I would and I don't go to Newbury unless I have to, but I would either sell it off, or I would give it to another person that would be able to read it and spread the gospel. And somewhere in the distance, Rebecca Johnson would feel like, oh, something great just happened, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, she's gonna feel like the fact that we read this. No, I mean you weren't here last week because like she was here like last week and the week before. You were here at that time and we talked about it. And I even said, I was like, the next time you're on, Rebecca, I'm going to read it. Did not expect her to show up the next week.
Well, she's more sporadic. She shows up like every 15
because she usually has to work on Saturdays. So I was not expecting her to show up. But then of course the new the image of Amelia Alcock, the back of her chair and everything, gets released. She shows up a week before that, and we talk about that. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna read it the next time you're on. I'm gonna have it read, and then of course that happens, and she hits me up. She goes, "You talking about the new image?" I'm like, "Fuck!" I'm like, I don't have time. It was like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
Oh yeah, so you couldn't even like race down and
go
through it
I was
really,
like,
really
should
quick
I
and be like.
skim? I'm like, no, I'm not gonna be like that. I'm just gonna tell her that. And she was like, I get it. You weren't expecting me to come back so soon. So yeah, it was kind of funny. So good thing you weren't here. No, but it was a good conversation with her. But yeah. But I see what you're saying with everything. So
no, but honestly though, and I tell you guys this, and I think Chris can understand with his giant library in the back there. If you have the extra dough, you just end up getting like books or from friends sometimes too, for your birthday or no, and then you pile on like all these omnibuses or something, and then you just lose track of time. You just can't keep up with everything either, and because comic books consistently just come out all the effing time. But I literally, I'm pretty sure that I only have a Prime membership half the time because in there I have a giant list of omnibuses and when they come out, and then I don't even really get them there. I go to like cheapgraphicnovels.com and just buy it there instead because it's cheaper than getting it through Amazon. Like, I mean, I'll get it faster through Amazon, but like I just have like a pile of like 200 plus like either graphic novels or omnibuses of things I still need to go through and like collect and read, because it's like I don't know if any of you guys collect Legos. I don't personally, but I have friends that do, and like you have to get the set within like the first year or two, because then if you don't, they discontinue it, and then you have to like look for it online for where it's like double or triple the cost. Like it's
I used to do Connects when I was younger, and if you wanted like it was like the roller coaster or the Ferris wheel or whatever it was, after a certain while they were just gone and you never got them back. So when I would miss certain pieces that would have like a motor or whatever to get it going, forget about it. You couldn't get them back. So but I don't know if Connects is such a dated reference now. I don't even know if
I have Connects.
I understand that reference. I got
I don't know if they make them anymore though. But then again, I didn't think
they make Technic though. Technic still do.
That's right. I thought they didn't make there's another one, Duplex or whatever it's
Duplex,
called.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought they stopped making those, but they still do. So I just
Was that the one with the metal pieces that would always like crosshair? I can't remember, or was that shoot? Yeah, they would have metal pieces that were kind of like Erector set. Is that what they were called?
Erector set.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that was another one that was kind of like it that I always saw other people have them, and I was like, I got my Connects over here.
Yeah, Erector set was like very old school. That showed up in the Sandlot. Remember? I think he had like a Erector set. Remember that?
Oh yeah. Well,
they build the fucking
They've had toys like that though for decades. Over many years and stuff. Because like I remember when I was a kid and I saw the Sandlot, I was pretty sure that like a neighborhood kid had something similar.
Oh yeah.
So it's
something I had a friend who had that. Yeah.
Right. Like I mean, I remember when they reintroduced Stretch Armstrong in the 90s, and I got one for Christmas, and then I would see someone with like a Stretch Armstrong in like a 70s or 80s movie, and I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, and I didn't realize it was just a generational toy that popped up every couple decades or something like that.
Crazy.
Would you all like
bring it back?
Everything too? What was the 90s one like? Is it any different?
I mean, basically, I didn't understand how Stretch Armstrongs work, except I had liked pulling, and then I didn't understand that they would break. And then the goo came out, and I tried to because I loved the toy, and I tried to salvage it, and it just didn't work. And then I got goo on the carpet, and they're like,
goo on the.
So that was the last time I got a Stretch Armstrong.
Never goo on the carpet.
No, well, I mean, listen, it was in my room. I tried to hide it, didn't work.
I think that was every kid's goal was to try to part it. It was because he was so stretched. But anyways,
we're good. But
the commercials were good. All right, so Phil, let's get your look.
Oh God, he's prepping. He's prepping.
He's getting his energy. He's getting his energy.
He's got his energy in.
Okay. I've seen a lot of shit said about this movie so far.
Yeah.
I've seen people with opinions. I've seen people praise this movie. I've seen people hate on this movie. Hell, I've even seen people lie about seeing this movie.
Oh, God.
And, when it came to this shot in particular, I can't really say I was too surprised to see the reaction that I saw from multitudes of different people. Me personally, I'm not a fan of the whole in-your-face camera shot. It's been done to death. Sonic 2, Black Adam, Blue Beetle. Yep. It's just a very unappealing shot.
Adam Warlock.
Right, exactly. I've even said on this show more often than I can count. The one thing I was worried about was the flying. Now, listen. I think the shot from the back looks great. I think the shot of him flying out of the fire from the kaiju looks great. The whole front face John Krasinski deep fake thing is just.
That's right. You told me that.
I did. I'm just so. This isn't even just me picking on this movie specifically. Everyone knows at this point. I'm not James Gunn's biggest cheerleader, but I'm also not going to hold a torch to his feet either. I'm not. I'm kind of in the middle when it comes to this shit. But I'm not going to repeat that. No one needs to repeat that anyway. When I saw people react to this, and then I saw a certain Bargain Bin Barbie doll reaction from another mutual friend of ours, because of course they share, pictures of updates and things like that. And I see this certain character who's a influencer, I suppose, talk about how it looks like all CGI and what is James Gunn doing? And then someone asked James Gunn about said shot, and James Gunn's like, oh no CGI trickery, no AI. That's David Cornsweat's face. That's Svalbard, Sweden. I was like, oh, the man made the movie. I'm not going to fucking sit here and call him a liar like a lot of other people tend to. I'm not going to, I'm going to watch the damn movie. I was going to watch the damn movie one way or the other, but when it comes to this shot, I'm with you, man. It seems like everyone has to have an opinion on everything that comes out about this movie. And I'm just kind of over it. I'm over people talking about it negatively. I'm over people saying oh, this is going to be the thing the DCU could never be. And God damn, I just wish people would be honest about how they feel about shit. And it's just so frustrating. So frustrating. So frustrating. It can be. Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, how many great movies have bad shots,
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
It's just
no, that's fair.
It's just one of those things where it's just when there's oh yeah, we're finally gonna see, because we saw the back shot from the teaser to the teaser. We already saw that and it was oh yeah, that's a cool shot. And I remember seeing that, and it was that was the best shot of that whole thing. When it showed the people, it was kind of okay, but but at the same time, I was who knows? But but then now we got the front shot. Yeah, I think it's just one of those in context of the full scene. Is he chasing somebody? Is he just going to the Fortress of Solitude? What I liked is the fact that it's I like that his hands were back.
What if he's flying out of the Fortress of Solitude?
Could be that too. Could be flying away from the Fortress of Solitude and going, oh shit, there's a kaiju that's attacking Metropolis. Could be that. And he's got to get there. So he's just very determined to fly as quickly as he can to Metropolis and whatever the fuck. I do like the fact that it wasn't he didn't have an arm out. He didn't, it's not it's not the first time we haven't seen him with the arms back. But I did kind of like that it wasn't the traditional one arm up or both arms up or something like that. It's kind of cool. I like the fact that it was both arms back. you know, that he's just kind of just gliding through. He knows exactly where it's going. I literally saw that. This is how the internet, I tell you. And that, like I said, this is why things are worse now, because people just can take the time. I saw somebody like map out like the terrain, and like they were saying like, why is he going this way?
A friend of mine told me
yeah,
about
did you
this.
see that?
Yeah.
And they were like, this is a stupid way that he would actually fly because of the terrain. And I'm like, okay, 2.5 seconds and you already mapped out the terrain and are going, Superman's a dummy for flying this way. And I'm like, holy shit. I mean, again, this is why, you know, this is why it's like so much worse now, because people just have the time. The technology is clear, crisper. You could just go frame by frame, and oh my God. It is just like, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I hate that, because I'm like, I mean, you know, when it comes to movies and when it comes to visual effects, I mean, one of the things that Zach was always, why his visuals always look good, he knows how to, like, when it comes to a color palette or lighting is always the biggest thing. I mean, if you go in the behind the scenes, like for instance, like the Man of Steel, the Krypton scene.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously it's all green screen when you're looking out. You're seeing like Russell Crowe and he's looking out, and you're seeing like explosions and all this kind of shit like that. But at the same time, like on the set, there's flashes, there's bulbs that are flashing and doing all this kind of stuff. And the way that Zach knows how to do lighting with his crew, and he's got his VFX guys that are looking at the the lighting and everything as well. I mean, like I've talked to one of these guys, and they've specifically told me like how Zach and the crew like approach that, and how that's why when you see these heavy visual effects shots, it's not broad daylight, it's dusk, it's dawn, it's like low light. And that's why you see a lot of Zack Snyder shots where it's like that, or it's at night, because it can hide those imperfections. And I remember I even brought that up too, like when it came to Zack releasing like shots from his Justice League in black and white, because one of the reasons why black and white hides imperfections, because Zack's a photographer. He knows this. So it's just shit like that. So when you're doing broad daylight stuff, which this shot is daylight, white snow, just a lot of light. So that color is going to be hard to get right. That's why I thought, there's a little bit of a lighting issue here too that makes it look maybe a little wonky. That's the risk you take when it comes to broad daylight. And Zach, like when you're comparing it at least to Zach, and why he does these heavy visual shots that are at night or at dusk or dawn or something like that, you dim that light, you can hide those imperfections in the VFX where you just go, whoa, that's a beautiful shot, you know? And I don't know. It's just, that's just one of those things, you know?
I mean, it also just comes down to, again, it's just down to taste and like their backgrounds. Because Zach is clearly trained in, I mean, you look at Man of Steel and how well it still looks to this day. I mean, we were all there, watching it in the theater and stuff with him and stuff, and it still looks incredible, because Zach was trained in how to, make it look like that. James is just going for simplistic stuff. He's got a trauma background, for God's sakes. I mean, he's just trying to make it look like what he knows what his version of Superman looks like. So I mean, and for some people that's appealing, and for some it's just not. And that's But on top of that, I mean, personally, if I had to give advice, if I was an executive, I'd be like, fix the eyes or whatever. And that if you're going to put that,
they probably will.
They will, but I would be shocked if they didn't, or if they don't have the money. I don't know, but whatever. But I mean, that's what they're going to do. And, as like I said, it just depends how it comes out and everything. But I was like Phil in the sense of when I saw Adam Warlock in Guardians 3, I was like, I guarantee there's going to be a Superman shot that's going to look like that. And sure enough, it's already here. So
I thought that too. And I was like, I think we got a taste. I think we got a taste of Superman right here. But then it was kind of funny. And then again, and for those people who want to get James Gunn on a lie, he did say, like, somebody asked him, like, is it going to look like Adam Warlock? He goes, no, it's going to be different. And then we get this shot and it's like, you kind of made it like Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
But but at the same time, it's not exactly like it, because I think it was a little bit more like up in his face. This wasn't so much up in his face, but it's still right in front.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just like one of those shots that maybe could go away now. I mean, even Matt Reeves kind of did it with Batman when he's gliding off the fucking GCPD building.
He did.
I mean, you have the camera just like right there.
Well, that scene is honestly one of the
different.
only scenes in the movie that really took me out of the movie, if I'm being quite honest. I mean, I think it could have been done better. I understand what Matt Reeves was going for. But as far as Superman goes, I'm more questioning like, how does Crypto really play a role? How does that where does that kaiju come from? Again, I get it for that version of Superman that Gunn is going for, but that's the things that had me scratching my head. Like, where is this going? Like, how is like what kind of, we're obviously not dealing with a grounded universe. It's clearly a comic book universe. So
definitely.
Yeah. So we'll have to see how it comes out and like how the general audience responds to it, and just go from there. That's basically it. So but
I'm curious how they just keep the tone, especially like if Lanterns is going to go into that more of a True Detective kind of style. How are you going to take this kind of lighter, like almost anything can happen universe, and then blend it in with something that's supposed to be a little bit more grounded?
The reason why I have trouble with James Gunn to a degree, and again, like, I don't hate his films. Like, I particularly like the Guardians movies, probably the best in terms of this like superhero stuff, because Suicide Squad I was just kind of meh on. Like, it wasn't like terrible, and I know some people love that movie, but I was just kind of like, okay, and I couldn't even finish Peacemaker. So, and I haven't even touched Creature Commandos yet, because it seems kind of more the same shtick. Granted, like, it's a cartoon, but like, for me, James, in my opinion, I mean, and I'm kind of hoping like more with Phil, like in the sense of like, I hope he kind of restrains himself a little bit, because in my personal opinion, he kind of can't help himself like doing that kind of jokey comedy with everything else. And the best superhero stuff, like if it's not, say, like Zach or Chris Nolan or something like that, like if they're going full comic book, it's more of like, you have to be goofy, but you have to play it straight. Spider-Man 2 is the perfect example of that. That is a comic book universe, but the shit is played completely straight. Like, even if it's goofy and over the top, it's like it's a better example is probably Spider-Man 1, because the Goblin stuff.
Yeah.
Well, if you remember, like, they have different kind of Goblin fights. When Goblin shows up in the parade, it's kind of cartoony. It's a little more
very
goofy.
cartoony. Yeah.
Right. There's good fighting and stuff, but then you cut to like the Goblin fight at the end of the movie, which is more reminiscent of like the actual final confrontation that they had in the books before Goblin got revived for like the 50th time.
Much more serious. Yeah.
Way more fucking serious, and way more straight laced. But either way, both versions do play it straight, even with all the goofy dialogue and everything else. Like, there is a thread. It feels there are stakes. Like, it has to be played straight, even if it's goofy. So I'm hoping that if Gunn does do this and that's what he wants to do, I hope that that's how he plays it, because if he does anything less than that, like if he has a Star-Lord like dance off bro moment, like it's gonna ruin the rest of the movie.
It's gonna be meme worthy immediately.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I'm hoping Gunn is smart enough to understand, hopefully if not before now, that like, this is like the most scrutinized like movie of all. Yeah, so I mean, that's
he's responded with somebody about it, that like how stressed out. I mean, even like he said that it was very overwhelming when he was filming Superman, and then he had to have meetings about other ideas. I mean, that's the thing, is like, even though like him and he's halfway splitting with what's his nuts when it comes to the CEO of DC Studios, but at the same time, it's like, he's only handling the business stuff. You're still the creative thing. So you're like, when other things like Peacemaker or Creature Commandos finalized shots or something like that, he still has to look over that while he's directing a Superman movie. There's a lot on his shoulders, and the reason why there is a lot, and I know, it's kind of funny too, is like, I'll get people like, why does it seem like he's doing everything, like because recently he said he's already pre-writing his next project that he's doing. Why is he doing so much? I'm like, because they can't afford to just keep on throwing money at people. Like, I think they were just like, you're going to be the guy, you're going to be the main guy, and you're not going to just be the Kevin Feige. You're also going to be directing and writing and all this stuff. So he's got a lot on his shoulders, which can be good but not good at the same time.
I look, I mean, we've had many conversations on this stream about just WB's decision making and their bad management styles and stuff like that. And it's like I said, guys, like I'm hoping for the best, whatever may come. But you know, I can tell you right now, like the other guy earlier, like I'm more invested in Daredevil Born Again. The Lantern stuff looks interesting to a degree, but like as far as DC live action, I'm still more invested in the Batman and the Penguin. I mean, granted, you have more actual built up and actually released, so that helps.
We're waiting so long for it.
Yeah, no, 2027. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that move, and again, that's a whole other thing. But yeah, like I hope they know what they're doing, and I'm not talking just James Gunn. I'm talking like in general, like, or they have a better idea of what they're doing than the previous regime. But we've been here before, so.
Yeah, it's just I know we've been burned so many times, but I always just like have high hopes for it. And I think like the fact that they made a studio. And I have faith in James Gunn because he has a unique knowledge of like a lot of these characters, you know. And I said something like a while back. I mean, like because you know again when you have this whole Zack Snyder, James Gunn, and I see people Zack should have been running DC Studios. I'm like, Zack doesn't have this knowledge that James Gunn does. James Gunn has this more unique knowledge than Zack does. You know, and that's not even a slam against Zack. Zack just picked his particular books and characters that he really emphasized with. He loves like the certain Daredevil books. He would say like if he were to do a Marvel project, he want to do an Elektra project. He would want to, if he were to come back and do a DC project. I mean, as much as people think that he would just finish his trilogy, it's kind of ridiculous, but he want to do like an authentic Dark Knight Returns. He's always talked about how much he loves like Dark Knight Returns. He interviewed Frank Miller and talked about that. You know, he's not one of those that's like gonna. Do you think Zack's gonna write a fucking polka dot man in a movie? Like he's not gonna put like somebody like that. He's not gonna put anybody like that. Like James Gunn, he's gonna put something like that. He knows those crazy, unique characters. This is why he was the perfect guy to bring Guardians of the Galaxy to the forefront. I mean, yes, he had the Marvel. He already had the MCU to help that. But I remember when Guardians of the Galaxy, I was like, wait, I think I've heard of them, but I don't really know who they are. I've heard the name. And then a lot of people were just like, who the fuck are the Guardians of the Galaxy? And then that ended up being, a massive trilogy, you know?
Right. I mean, I would argue, though, too, at the same time, Dave, that, like, James Gunn is kind of in the same way, except his focus is on things that people don't pay attention to. Because he's, or at least... like not necessarily say Mr. Terrific, but like he goes for like the D-list characters. He remembers all of the offshoot characters, and his bread and butter are these like weird team ups. And like I didn't know who the fucking Creature Commandos were, and I like own a shit ton of, you know what I mean? Like I
didn't know either. I had no idea either.
Yeah, I was like, I'm like, what are these things? So like, but I knew Frankenstein because obviously I'd read Seven Soldiers of Victory because I'm a huge Morrison fan and stuff like that. But like, he'll just take from things that no one's really paying attention to, but in a way, it's smart, at least for him, because, with them being so obscure, he can kind of artistically, he can play around with them and mess around with them and stuff and do his own take. And he doesn't have this big scrutiny on him, which is why I kind of feel like, again, like he's kind of out of his depth with Superman, because Superman is like the exact opposite. He is.
Yes.
I mean, yes, don't get me wrong. Spider-Man sells more. Yeah. Superman is the most known superhero in the world. So it's so I do worry that, but again, that's why he's bringing fucking Hawkgirl and Guy Gardner and Mr. Terrific, because they're lesser known characters that he can kind of play around with because they're not as well known in live action. He can kind of, play around with that aspect and just try to work and give himself more bread and butter while dealing with something that he has to now tackle, basically. So it's like, it could go either way. But again, I think every creator that comes onto this stuff is going to focus on the things that they themselves love most from the books.
You make up a good you make a good point, because I mean, one of the things that, you got to play to your strengths. And I mean when it was announced that Gunn was directing Superman, I mean, even I was like, I don't, that's not I'm like, I was like that too. I was hesitant, and I'm still just kind of going like, let's see if he pulls this thing off. But you bring up a good point. Is like the fact that he was like, well, if I'm going to do this, and it is something different, where it's like we have a Superman that's living in a world with other heroes that are like this and like this. So it's like, so he is trying to tweak it to his strengths. It's almost like when, like what Zach was doing, like when he was holding on, when he was like had these characters, he was playing to his strengths of like, well, okay, if you're telling me not to do this, I'm going to do it. That's what he said on like Joe Rogan. It's like, okay, Superman shouldn't, or Batman shouldn't kill. So what's the first thing that I want to fucking do is I want to push back against that. I like to push back against the grain. You're telling me I can't do a thing. Now I want to do it because, I'm going to deconstruct these characters. You're telling me that Superman can't be like this. Well, now I want to deconstruct Superman to fit like right here. And he played it to his strengths. And yeah, there's going to be people that are not going to resonate with that, not going to feel that. And then when it comes to James Gunn, it's like, okay, because from what I gather, from what I heard, is like he did give he wrote out a treatment of like, here's how like I would do a Superman, and gave it to Warner Brothers when he first got brought on. But he didn't want to do it. He was like, no. And, he was very truthful on that. But from what I gathered, he was like, well, this is how, they were said, write us a little treatment. Like, what would you actually do? He gave it to him. And then they were like, do you want to do it? And he said, no, Suicide Squad's more my bag. Let me do that instead. But then when it came to everything going crazy, and then, of course, when he got, upgraded to that, he was like, well, I guess I'm going to fucking do this now. And he's like, all right, now let's just, I'm going to like, now that I'm not going to have, now that I could really do it my way. And maybe when he gave that treatment, it wasn't exactly like this, but maybe it was. I don't know. Who knows? And then he was like, well, now that I have nobody that's going to tell me to do anything otherwise, I'm just going to do it my way. And it's going to be interesting to see, again, like in July, how people respond to it. Like, I don't think it's going to make $1 billion. Of course, said that many times. I don't think it's going to flop either. I think it should do just enough to warrant the rest of the, to keep on going, hopefully, because I don't want another reboot. I don't want another fucking like, oh, somebody else is going to come in. Or they're
I think realistically what will happen if it does not, or let's just say this, I don't think it'll bomb, but if it underperforms or doesn't go the way that Warner Brothers wants it to go, I just think that they will just stick with Elseworld stuff or focus on
just
Matt Reeves
individual
movies. Yeah, that's what's going to happen, because the Elseworlds projects, like some directors clearly still want to work on these characters that no one knows about. And if Warner Brothers wants to put up the money, look, I don't care anything about Sergeant Rock, but I loved fucking Challengers, and that director wants to make a Sergeant Rock movie. You're
intrigued,
right? I mean, do I want it in James Gunn's DCU? Not really, but I'd like to see that director do that project, because I'm like, I gotta fuck, because look what he did with fucking Tennis. Like, what is he gonna do with Sergeant Rock? Like I can't help, the film guy in me can't help but think of like what that could be. And James Mangold, I mean, that's 50-50. Am I going to get a Logan, or am I going to get a Dial of Destiny? I don't know, but I'm willing to find out,
Yeah, but at the same time, that was, you got Disney breathing down.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Lucasfilm has dropped the ball more than enough times.
So much,
But yeah, it's funny you talk about Zach and the deconstruction stuff. I recommend to you guys I know Phil knows, and I know some of you guys have definitely known, but yeah, the absolute line in DC right now, like when Zach was talking about deconstruction, reconstruction, that's exactly in line with what he was saying. Like,
always ahead of his time, that Zack Snyder.
but you take the biggest thing that is crucial to these characters. You take away the fact that Superman never got to really know his parents, and you make that part of the Superman book. You take away Batman's money, he's still Batman. You take away Diana's loving, supporting Themyscira Island. You throw her into hell. What does she do? She uses her love, her natural like love and grace within herself, and she domesticates the demons that are trying to kill her as a baby. Like, so that's cool.
Interesting.
That's fucking amazing.
I've never had anyone pitch me that. I've been like completely off on all of the absolute stuff. I've been reading up on Batman and Robin Year One.
I've heard that's good. Yeah, Mark Waid, Chris Samney. Yeah, who did? Yeah. yeah, I've
doing
heard
an
very good
excellent
stuff.
job there. But so I've been kind of avoiding because I'm looking at this roided out looking Batman. I'm just like, this is like
No,
so,
the art style is insane. It looks like a Liefeld drawing gone insane. But no,
right.
like Phil was the one that told me, like, bro, you gotta check this out. My friend Troy was telling me to check it out. I was like, yeah, I mean, you don't have to sell me on Snyder, but I just wasn't getting single issues because like I don't have any more room for I don't have room for my books, let alone my single issues. But I read a few issues of Absolute. I read 1 or 2 issues of Superman and Wonder Woman, and yeah, like I can't wait for the Flash. Like I think again,
Martian Manhunter, yeah.
Oh yeah, and the Martian Manhunter just looks like Art Deco, or no, not Art Deco, but like 60s art style, like museum, like gone insane, like because how he morphs and shapes and everything, just very different.
Cool.
Yeah, it's the art meeting commerce, like kind of coming together and doing a thing. And then Ultimate line with Marvel is doing the same thing. Like they're just taking what makes these characters and then bringing them down to their core, and like they're still the characters. Like so, it's just.
So do you see these becoming part of like official canon? Because I'm a big proponent for like what if stuff, like all behind me here.
Yeah.
But if it is canon, I mean that's cool, but I'm curious how that plays out.
I mean, it is and it isn't canon because any story in the multiverse, can drift in and out. I mean, Miles Morales literally came into Secret Wars and then got dropped into the 616 universe. You could do that, but technically with the Absolute line with DC. Darkseid, I don't know all of the story, but Darkseid literally created the universe.
Okay.
And while having a thing that happened in the main timeline. So that created the Absolute timeline. The Ultimate timeline is literally the Reed Richards of the original Ultimate Universe from the 2000s becomes the Maker. And so the Maker himself is basically a god, and then he recreates the Ultimate Universe. Because it had died out, I think, after Secret Wars or something, and then he rebirths it and changes it around. And he basically, kind of like how Dr. Manhattan did in Doomsday Clock. I don't mean to bring that up, but that's the best analogy I can make, is that he goes in and he changes things at certain times, and then like Peter Parker becoming Spider-Man after he's with MJ, 2 kids, and then he becomes Spider-Man. Like that's and just I think I don't want to spoil anything else if anyone hasn't read the books and stuff.
Like I said, you've already pitched me. I'm gonna check it out.
It's a good pitch. I know Jordan, you need to go, but before you go, I do, because we do want to get to your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I do want to get your opinion on the first 2 episodes.
I haven't seen them.
You haven't seen them? Oh, I thought you did. Okay.
I'm busy.
Yeah, you're busy.
And I'm watching more movies now. That's kind of my focus. But I'll get to the show.
Okay. Just was wondering because I was, we were gonna start talking about that next. But Jordan, thank you for joining. I know there hasn't been much Metallica talk lately. I wish we could talk to Metallica.
They're starting touring again this year at some point, so it'll be something.
It's gonna be interesting. My mom did send me something today on Instagram. It was when they were doing like the karaoke, like driving with what's his name? Not the guy who usually did it, but it's somebody else. And they were singing the Little Mermaid song. It was kind of funny because they were like all like, "What the fuck is he singing?" Like, and then they turned it into something, but it was pretty funny. But anyways, Jordan, thank you for joining.
Of course.
Plug away.
Chainsaw Reacts everywhere. Council of Creators every Wednesday, and I mean, it was nice meeting you, Phil. We should do something together.
You guys should do something.
Novel concept.
But Chainsaw Reacts everywhere, and that's where you can find me. Watch more movies and shit, covering all that. So
for sure, man. All right.
He's one of the most honest movie reviewers out there.
I try my best. Honesty is key. All right, talk to y'all later. See you
guys.
All
right, thanks, Jordan.
Take care.
Take it easy. But I think this is a good way to transition into your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Like I talked about it on Wednesday's Film Junkie Live. I actually enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I was like kind of hesitant at first, and then I was like, it's not bad. I mean, but the thing that was like, I was like, okay, is this? I mean, obviously there was like the whole thing. Is it MCU and is it not? It seems like it's just another universe in the multiverse of MCU. This is Tom Holland Spider-Man, but it's not the same universe.
Yeah, it was originally called Freshman Year, right? It was supposed to be. It was
supposed to be.
MCU.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, something happened that fell through. Maybe they want to utilize something.
Fucking Sony and Amy Pascal came in and said, Maybe I don't know. I don't know.
I'm now picturing Kevin like at a computer and like that GIF, but it's Amy Pascal's face.
This is not your universe.
He just gets mad and throws something at the computer. But no, so I haven't seen the actual episodes of the show and stuff, but people have been showing me clips and everything, and so I saw a good clip. It was he's in still the proto outfit basically, Spidey, and then he gets someone clearly is running from a store. They must have stolen something. He webs them, brings them back to the store. Yeah. And then the owner comes out to see what's going on, and the robber just breaks down in tears. It's like a young woman, and she's clearly like
pizza place. Yep. She robbed.
Right. And she grabbed the money that was on the counter, but she explains that she's been on a rough time. She seems sincere. So she's still webbed up, but Spider-Man is kind of like the negotiator. Like the owner's like not like yelling or anything, but he's just like, yeah, maybe we should just give her a second chance or something. And the owner's like, yeah, all right. And then they let her go, and she runs off. And because it's written by Dan Slott, she comes back later and shoots the guy, and then but like I was like, okay, I like the spirit. I was like, that's something that I would see like in a Spider-Man game or a Spider-Man comic. However, all that being said, the animation style is fucking rough. Like the frame rate, maybe because I was watching on my phone, but like I don't know, it looked very. Like if there is one scale where there's the X-Men 97 animation, and on the other end you have the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, I feel like it's just
sloppy.
Yeah, it was. So I mean, if people were complaining about Invincible animation, like this is way. Yeah, Phil.
Well, it's kind of funny.
I thought this was worse. Yeah.
It's kind of funny because like when I saw the trailers, I was like, I don't know about this animation style, but after watching it, I was like, it actually didn't bother me.
Right.
After,
you get kind of used to it, I guess.
Well, I think I got used to it. I was like, I already knew. So I just kind of like, it was fine, Yeah. Like, there's like a little bit of, somebody saying like, I don't know. I just like, it didn't bother me as I was watching it. And I was like, okay, I'm just like more interested in the story. And then of course, when they do that one scene, which is essentially at the end of the first episode, where it's essentially just like mimicking a scene in Civil War, which was already released online, it was kind of like cool, like how they kind of just like followed it, and you could see like side by sides of people posting. I was like, okay, so it didn't really bother me all that much. But Chris, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, it's we talked about it in Marvel Alliance yesterday, where it's okay. Yeah, it's definitely not the worst piece of Marvel animation content I've seen. It's definitely not the best, just because like it's an origin. These first two episodes are origins. I like the tips of the hat to the Easter eggs that are out there. I think that what they do with the comic paneling is gimmicky, but they don't overuse it. Like there's reason behind it during action sequences, split screen sequences. It seems appropriately used. The animation style, it's been a while since I've seen this type of use of it, so I'm still trying to get used to it. Again, same thing. It's not the best. It's not the worst. I mean, the whole show right now is just okay. And, when I see a lot of reviewers who've seen the whole thing saying this is, like, really surprising and really good, I hope, I want it to stick the landing because I don't want bad content out there. And then when we hear, like, oh, it's already greenlit through season 3, I was like, oof. All right,
here we go. We're
we're committed. Not saying that they can't pull the rug out from underneath it, but they're definitely already probably in the midst of doing season 2.
Did X-Men 97 also get greenlit till season 3 as well?
No, I think it came out. Did it get season 3?
Yeah,
it did. Yeah,
I feel like it's
season 2.
Okay.
And so, I seeing the kind of different stylings of certain characters and. I'm fine with that. The stuff that really doesn't bother me that much, just because again, I've got the comics behind me. I've got other animation to see. Like if I'm really that bent out of shape, well, then I can go and read and watch the things that I did really like.
You're so woke. You're so woke.
So woke.
Wow.
God damn it, dude. Stop being so woke.
Certain things I've just gotten used to, and just like it doesn't bother me as much. And the things
I'm with you.
that do bother me, and right now I don't have enough to go on to say like it's a complete trash show, it's a complete great show. I just don't have enough to go on. So hopefully these next 3 episodes that drop, we get into the nitty-gritty. We're beyond the origin. Let's see what they do with this character, because outside of a new introductions of characters, there wasn't really much there with these first 2 episodes.
Yeah. We're also at the point too where, you know, the genre is just getting, it's not so much that it's even getting stagnant, it's that we keep, and it's not, I mean, I'm talking just movies, I'm talking everything. Like we have like 50 iterations of Batman. Superman is pretty much right alongside Spider-Man, like those 3 especially. You know, like even just recently, even without counting James Gunn's Superman movie, we've had the Henry Cavill, we've had Adventures with Superman, and we've had the Superman and Lois show, and that was just within the span of the last 5 years. And now we're getting the James Gunn version. And Batman, I mean, Jesus, you know, got Cape Crusader. You know, I was gonna say the Robert Pattinson, the Batman, obviously Ben Affleck, you know, and Spider-Man. I mean, I think it's funny though too with Spider-Man, because I've heard the show is fine. Like it gets the job done. People seem to be enjoying it, but other fans, it's a continuing...
I mean, he's a murderer too. That guy that got hit by a brick, he's dead.
No, dude, I mentioned that when I saw the trailer for that.
I don't care what they say. He's dead.
Him and Kevin McAllister will just get arrested at the end.
Morbius is right. He's he's
a murderer.
Mysterio is right. Murderer.
No, but like, what was I going to say? With animated Spider-Man shows, it's a running joke that the shows never get to actually officially conclude. They always get cut off, basically.
Yeah.
You know, and people were saying before this show fully got launched or fully got off the ground, people were like, "Can we get Spider-Man 98? Can we get, you know, Spectacular Spider-Man season 3?" And everyone's like, "No, now the new Spider-Man show. They don't want conflicting Spider-Man shows."
I think that's where Marvel kind of like fucked up. They were
the
like,
truth.
Yeah, I think that's where Marvel kind of fucked up. They like when this started getting in development. Obviously, it was like I said, it was freshman year. It was supposed to be like, hey, this is going to be a prequel to full-on Tom Holland Spider-Man, and then all of a sudden X-Men 97 is a huge hit, and it works. And then people are like, all right, let's bring on Spider-Man and do that. And they're like, well, we got a Spider-Man animated shit, but we had a little little thing that happened where we have to like change it, and now it's just gonna be like an alternate universe. That's the
the funniest part about that though is that version of Spider-Man and that continuity, like the ending of his show, he literally is going another dimension to find Mary Jane. And then the cameo popped up, and everyone's like, "Oh, it got resolved. Like, let's see what he's been up to." And it's like, yeah, no.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. How dare you, Chris?
Nobody cares.
Now it's, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, oh man, it's like I said, it's not a bad show. Like I'm with Chris. Like I actually, like, I didn't think I was like, what is this gonna be like? And I was like, okay, I actually enjoyed it. I went in with low expectations, and I liked it more than I thought it was gonna be. But I'm kind of with Chris, where it's like, yeah, it's not spectacular, pardon the but it's not like, it's not something where I would have preferred to do like, can we just bring the 90s show back and just do what you did with X-Men, because that was so fantastic. And I think in retrospect they probably would have after the reaction to X-Men 97.
No, you know what, I got a great idea. Whenever Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out, which may be until 2030, I don't know. But like,
right? What's going on with that one?
End of season 3, they pop that Peter in Spider-Verse for 2 seconds. He gets hit by a giant goblin truck, and that's the end of that. And then they can move on, and then they go on.
Did he go to his home planet with Poochie?
Yes, that's right, he did.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't want to like give too much away, but if you watch the opening scene in this, you kind of go, well, they could play with that whole idea
I wouldn't be. If they're doing if they're doing a new animated Spider-Man property, I wouldn't be shocked if there was some little
There
like,
is
link at Spider-Verse.
100%.
Okay.
The first thing, like the opening sequence that happens in this series, because something crazy happens,
You
and
mean the
then
whole Doctor Strange thing, right?
yes, the whole Doctor Strange thing, and yeah, essentially what happens, Paul, and anybody, I mean, if you nobody wants to hear it, don't hear it, but it's already out and whatever. Just it's not even like that much, but Peter, is gonna show up to the what's the school called? Midtown?
Midtown
Yeah,
High.
Midtown.
Yep,
He's
yep.
first day and everything like that. And Aunt May drives him to it. It's all like, and they do like a brief thing about Uncle Ben and all that stuff. It's cool. And he's late and whatever the fuck. But then a portal opens up and fucking a venom creature comes through it, and then Doctor Strange is like, fucking I gotta get this guy, and a whole thing happens. And then another thing also comes through that too.
Yeah.
I guess what it is.
I guess I got to check this show out. All right.
So
Well,
it's cool. It's different, and I kind of was like, all right, but then it kind of plays in the concept of, does this Peter Parker wasn't supposed to,
Yeah,
kind of,
there was
like what they were playing with in across whatever the latest
Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
I mean that was the last one,
Yeah,
and then beyond, I
yeah.
guess it will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a whole mishmash of different things of why that happened the way it did. But
Yeah.
but that's at least interesting to me because like I remember, and again, I'm not a hardcore Spider-Man fan. It took me a while. I'm only just now watching the Spectacular run and whatnot, and I'm digging it. It's different, but like I remember the biggest controversy about that came out wasn't just the fact that it got like canceled or pulled early, even though it had a huge following. Is that they followed up it immediately with another Spider-Man show that was called, I believe, Ultimate Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah,
correct.
But they made him some cross between Deadpool and Cusco from Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah, a little bit.
He would pause like the scene and come back into the scene and like a fourth wall, and like he would draw. And I'm like, what is this? This is like I wasn't even into that show, but I saw clips and I was like, that's not Spider-Man. That's not even Ultimate Spider-Man because he didn't do that.
That's shit. Jack Morris. Time out.
Yeah. And that's terrifying because if you know Saved by the Bell, Zach Morris is a sociopath. So that's even more.
Yeah. Have you seen those
guy.
videos?
Zach Morris is trash.
Yeah, Zach Morris is trash. Those videos were so great.
I feel bad for that actor because I think he just did an interview to the Zach Morris actor, and he was
Mark
Paul Glosser.
Yeah, he had to keep telling people, he's like, I'm not that character. Please, for the love of God, don't.
Fictional characters.
Fictional. Yes, as Phil would quote. Apparently Phil.
Yeah, that's the sad part about that though, is like, that's what started your career. That's what you're known for. Just like Jaleel White's known for Urkel, and it's like, fuck, it's like you're not, and there's just you get stranglehold to that sitcom character that just like blew everybody away,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I meant to ask real quick because I haven't had time to check it out yet. I guess apparently it's not terrible. Skeleton Crew, I guess it was pretty good.
I haven't watched it yet.
It's so good.
Okay, how was Urkel in Skeleton Crew?
Jaleel White shows up in that. I heard
he's a background player. I mean, he's basically
big.
like of the pirate crew, the bad guys. He's kind of like directing orders to a lot of the other minions. So he's not. It's a lot of the run away kind of thing, or, I don't want to spoil exactly what he does, but he's not like some big player in it. But the show is so great, especially if you like Goonies. If you want Star Wars to go back to kind of that rebel spirit, like it explores a part that they just don't really touch on, and it feels like it's not even concerned about anything Skywalker related, and in the best way.
Right. It's very its own thing. No, I've heard that. It's just the trailer didn't do anything for me personally. I guess I wasn't against the aesthetic per se because I didn't mind the pirates and all of that, and them going to different planets. That didn't bother me. But I guess I was just thrown off with the idea that there's a planet that has like a suburbia in Star Wars. It just didn't feel right. I know why it's done that way.
Okay.
Because they're trying to connect, kind of in real world, I guess. But like that just completely threw me off, and I was like, no.
There's a really good reason. I don't want to go into it because it's kind of a spoiler, but there's a reason why the planet is the way that it is. Like it can't be found on a map for specific reasons, and they go into it. And then there's also some stuff like I know distance myself from some people who just want to see Jedi and laser swords, but the lightsabers are in it in a certain way too. That
I think I know that spoiler, but like no for me, because like one of my favorite Star Wars things other than Mandalorian right now is Andor, and that's all just about the Rebel. There's no Jedi stuff really in there as far as I know. For me, it's more just about the aesthetic. Like if it looks and feels like it's Star Wars, being just that it takes place in the Star Wars universe, that's my number one concern. That it does, like that's why the hotel failed, because that
doesn't go so goofy that you're like, oh, this is the kids show, or like
or this is a satire of Star Wars. It's not Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Trek does like that lower decks kind of stuff. It doesn't have that sort of super jokiness. Like it feels very much real Star Wars, but it just happens to have kids in it, and the kids aren't even doing kiddie jokes. I mean, obviously they're still kids, but they're still living in a real Star Wars kind of environment. So I don't think you're going to be put off by the kids or the tone is going to be off in any way. It feels like Star Wars. I would say Andor takes itself just a smidge more seriously though.
Oh yeah.
But again, I want to preface. I wasn't like watching the trailer and like, fuck this. Yeah. I was just more or less kind of done, and it was more like, you know what? It's not for me. It's probably made for like younger audience. Like what's that cartoon, The Young Jedi Adventures or whatever? I saw that and I was like, no, I'm good. Like, you know, that's more or less how. Yeah. Now does Favreau and Filoni, do they produce Skeleton Crew?
No, actually, what's his name who did Spider-Man? I can't think of his name right now.
Always goes back to Spider-Man.
The director,
John Watts.
John Watts is a part of the creative team.
He was.
Yeah, so I think he directed the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and the Everything Everywhere All at Once guys were involved at one point too, right? They directed something.
I think they might have been the middle couple episodes or something like that. Yeah. And then there's a really good episode that's I believe directed by Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah, she's been doing work.
Yeah, she's been directing Mandalorian episodes and stuff. Yeah.
It was just one of those ones where, like, there is, I think, one episode in the whole run of the show where I was just like, oh, that was more of a filler. Like, it's kind of a how you get from one thing to another thing, and you have to have this to build up to the other thing. But I think hers came along as the follow-up to that build episode, and just, like, her episode is so good. So, across the board, I think it's a really good show that, thanks to the Acolyte, a lot of people were just like, I can let Star Wars be over there for a while, and they're not giving it a chance. So I definitely would if you're even slightly curious.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it.
I mean, it's what happens, though, too. I mean, like, I don't think Solo was the greatest movie ever made, but it wasn't terrible. But because it came out pretty much, like, 5 or 6 months after Last Jedi, like, everyone was just kind of soured at that time. And then, they kind of... And Solo already didn't really... Like, people were already kind of, like...
Right.
Yeah.
But then when you go back and watch it, it's like, if you don't think about all the other shit, you just go, this is an enjoyable little sci-fi fucking adventure. Yeah. You know, it's a heist movie. I mean, you know, it's essentially a heist Star Wars movie. So,
yeah. I mean,
I'd say it's spiritually a little bit more like a more fun version of Solo. But also it's not so connected with like someone's origin story that you're like, oh, that's not how I remember it, or that's not how I see that character being. There's a lot of fun, fresh characters that you grow to love over the entire thing, and one you love to hate, and I'm not going to go into all that, but it's just really fun, and it doesn't have to be connected to anything super impactful in the universe. So
I mean, and that's honestly, I think Star Wars needs to do more things like that to a degree, because I think everyone's tired of all of like the Destiny, and even like Mandalorian, which I think was a great show, and I did not mind the ending of season 2, but then they made it. Then I think Grogu should have just left after season 2. I think season 3 should have just been the man. I mean, again, I didn't hate season 3. I didn't think it was terrible, but
but if he went away, you'd kind of want him to come back at some point, and you'd miss it a little bit more, like their dynamic. I think Grogu going away in season 3 would have probably been a better, almost fresh step for that series to take, so that you could, you know, see that dynamic or lack thereof in a better light, or in a new light going into season 3. But I do want to say, though, despite me giving my positive opinion about Star Wars, I really did love Spider-Man, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like, because I kind of got to get running. I think it's very like comic book panel-y. I had just gotten done watching probably my 8th or 9th rewatch of the Watchmen motion animated comic that they did. I
still haven't watched that. Yeah.
It's good. I don't like the new animated movie that they did, but that one's almost panel for panel, and then they just kind of added voices and like soft movements to kind of make it feel like it's coming alive. So I get the staticky, like, oh, this is not smooth animation. But one of the things I loved, and I wasn't even expecting it, was like when Spider-Man goes for swings around certain buildings, you have this like 3D movement effect where you actually see the articulations in the buildings, and he's moving in such a way that it feels like again, like a comic book, but somehow you've got 3 dimensions to it. And it's just a different vision for what that character is and what it looks like. And this might, rub some people the wrong way, but I've kind of got the, he's gotten bit, he does this, and this. And while they allude to it, there are some like panels in the opening credits that show him up against, Crusher Hogan. So they kind of gloss over his actual origin, and they get right to the action of it all. So if anyone's like, oh, another origin for Spider-Man, like he doesn't get bit, but he goes right into his activities.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting how they approached that, because it was like, oh, here's him. You actually see the spider bite, but then they just kind of do like, okay, that happens, and then he like, and he falls down. It's like, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden it's like opening, and you kind of see like, they do it like very comic book panel-y, and they kind of show like certain things. And then all of a sudden it's like, what, 6 months later or something like that?
Like 6 months or something. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, he's already got his makeshift. What I like about the costume that's different is the fact that he's got a tank that helps with the webbing. So that's a little different. And we're just like, oh yeah, he has to use like a special like little whatever helps to shoot out the webs. So he's wearing like a backpack with like this tank in it that he has to like adjust to like help his webbing. I'm like, oh, okay, they added something when it comes to this makeshift Spider-Man costume. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Because the 90s one was cool too. He'd have the little cartridges that he'd pull out. But at some point I'm thinking, like, if you're doing all this webbing, I mean, and this is obviously overthinking it and suspension of disbelief and all that, but like, you have to assume at some point he's going to run out of those. So I like the tank because there's just that added layer of tech to it that just makes it feel like, oh, that could run out at any moment. And when it does, what's he going to do?
Yeah, I really like that. And the hoses, you see the hoses connected to his, to the to his wrist. So it's like it's very just. It's like, how does he? That looks like it's uncomfortable, kind of thing,
So I mean, we'll see how it plays out. For those at least curious about it, there's so many people, and it's a little bit of a criticism I have, as well as liking it. He interacts with so many people from the comics that are going to be someone else someday. I don't want to say who they are, but heroes and villains are just like peppered throughout his high school or some other places that he's about to experience. But they're just themselves right now. So while some people could find that heavy-handed, and I totally understand that, I think it's really cool because some of those characters we've just never seen. So I think this show, if anything, even if it's to Spider-Man's criticism, I think Marvel knew here is a popular character. If we can, Spider-Man and friends this thing, so to speak, we can also start to integrate other heroes that people might like, lightly connected to Spider-Man, but maybe spin them off into something else down the road. So I hope they handle it well, because if it does become like, I don't know if any of you actually watched Ultimate Spider-Man all the way through, but by the end of it, it's like Web Warriors, and he's going out there with like 5 or 6 different Spider-Men, and then there's like, some other people like I think Iron Fist and Power Man are with him, and he just gets kind of overstuffed with all these characters. So I hope it doesn't become that. But right now, like, they're building a really interesting universe, even if it does feel kind of like Earth 2 for some of the directions they take. But it's a lot of fun so far, and I hope that I think Chris said it before. The next 3 episodes are something that pays off. So.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting how they're like treating like you said, characters and but at the same time, like and let's not give the spoiler, but
exactly.
I was like at the end of episode 2, I was like going, I went like, come on, and then it happened, and I was like, thank you. I was like, that's something.
Right.
That's something. There's something there. I was like, thank you. I was like, there's no way that, and I was like. Yeah. And then immediately the way that it ends, you just go, I literally went, thank you. That is a twist that we haven't seen, and I was like, okay, good.
And how is that going to play out? That could be.
How does that play out? How does that play out? It's exactly what I was thinking. I was like,
speaking of which, I believe I'm a bit played out here too.
Yeah, I know, you got to go. Yeah.
So check out anything, the Nerd Rage podcast, or my Twitter is Ryans_ramblings. That's where I'm covering a lot of stuff these days. And even though X has become political and I've engaged a little too much on the politics side, I'm still a nerd at heart, and I want to talk about all this stuff every day with you guys. So until next time, thank you very much for having me on, Dave, and I'll see you guys later.
All right, thanks, Ryan. Thank you, sir. Phil, you've been kind of quiet about the Spider-Man stuff. You talked about it a little bit on your show, but what were your thoughts about it a little bit?
I mean, honestly, that guy rambled way too much. I wasn't paying that much attention. To be brutally honest, like I think I chimed in earlier when Paul was talking about it. The animation's kind of stiff.
Yeah, you did talk about that, but overall,
it feels uneven, really. I like the characterization of Lonnie Lincoln. I'm curious to see where that goes. The animation, at least the art style, is very reminiscent of Steve Ditko. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
It's another Spider-Man show. I'm not going to say no to it, but at the same time, it's like comparatively, like animation wise, I think this is like kind of down there for me, and with like the 2003 show that Neil Patrick Harris did for a season, just in terms of pure animation and fluidity. Like it just, to me, just if there's a weak point, I as an animation fan, like I look at it and I'm like, yeah, this ain't hitting at all. To me, it feels like an extended season of What If that focuses solely on Spider-Man to some degree.
I could see that.
But I also think the story that they're presenting is interesting enough to have it stand apart from your typical, he gets bit by the spider, Uncle Ben dies, great power, great responsibility, 1 villain, 2 villain, 3 villain, 4 villain, blah, blah, blah. Like they're making avid changes to make it feel a little bit more distinct, which is cool. There are characters that pop up in the second episode that I was like, okay, I remember you. You're a gender swap of that character. Like I and I'm not bothered by it, I'm obviously
whatever.
It's totally fine. I mean, the voice actor for Spider-Man clearly thought it was hopefully going to be not woke, according to I saw that.
It is a very unfortunate statement he made, and I think that he's gratefully regretting it. And I'd like to give him the benefit
I didn't even
of the
see
doubt.
this. I don't even see this.
He so Collider broke a story. They got a quote. Good for them, but they got a quote from Hudson Thames about he was worried about the story and scripts being like annoying and woke, like his exact
that's right. I did see that.
And this is literally like day before the show drops.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't really look into it all that much, but I was like, oh, that's what that
he didn't.
was.
He definitely didn't get what do you call it? Because they do it now for everybody. The media training or whatever you want to call it.
So it wasn't done as well.
Nope.
And especially when you watch the show, it's like, I know those people who do think that you're gonna see the show. It's like, I don't know.
And like, I mean, when his quote came out, I saw so many people just being like, well, he's no Tom Holland, or just something to that varying effect of just dogging on him for saying something ridiculously dumb, like right as the show is coming out. But I mean, overall, I'm curious. I kind of fall in line with where Chris is at the moment. Like, it's okay.
like a lot of people, specifically like critics who have had access to all 10 episodes, which is astonishing for a Disney show, especially a Disney Plus streaming show, because usually they get crumbs of like 3 or 4 episodes at best. It's probably not going to be the same for Daredevil. They're probably only going to get the first 2, maybe 3 episodes, if I had to guess. But honestly, like it's fine. Like I'm not expecting much. I'm not, over the moon. I'm not like saying, oh, kill it with fire. I'm just like, okay, it's another Spider-Man story set in another universe, and it's probably gonna have some kind of cameo in Beyond the Spider-Verse, maybe. And I'm just like, I'm along for the ride, man. Like, I'm kind of baffled by the release decision, but I think Chris and I kind of talked about it too, like even off mic, about how it's like it could be broken up in this like story arc type of situation. Obviously, these first 2 episodes are very like origin centric. I'd have to imagine that the next 3 episodes, given where the cliffhanger goes off of, are very first rodeo-ish centric, with someone in the chair, so to speak. But it's wait, we've all seen it, right?
I haven't seen it. I mean, Phil, if you spoil it, I'm not gonna like hate you about it. I've seen like 50,000 different iterations of Spider-Man at this point.
He'll plot against you later, and like we'll hold it against you.
Spoilers: the second episode ends with Norman Osborn basically being like, "Oh, so you're Spider-Man."
Yeah, there you go.
I think that did get spoiled for me, because I think I saw. I think it was in trailers where he's talking directly to Peter, essentially like in like a speech of like. Clearly, he knows he's Spider-Man. Like,
right.
He doesn't say,
he knew he was Spider-Man before. That's a whole lot of like just misdirection.
But that's the thing. It was like when I was watching this, I'm like, he's got to know. And then I was like, you better play into this, because I'm like, that would be something fresh. And as soon as he flipped over like the fucking monitor and showed him changing, I was like, thank you. That's why I was like saying that. Like, I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
Now we can play with something here that's gonna be pretty interesting.
In the original books, that was a huge point of contention. Not angry from fans, but I think if I remember correctly, he unmasked Goblin. That's why the Gwen Stacy thing was such a controversial issue too for Spider-Man, because he unmasks the Goblin in a fight after Goblin like fucks him up and everything.
Yep.
And then I think there's a time where like he knows who the Goblin is, but the Goblin doesn't know who he is, and then he finds out, and then he drags him. But Peter still, because Norman and Harry and all of that whole thing, like he doesn't want to necessarily turn in Norman. And then, of course, later, like also too, like that was a lot more when like Norman and the Goblin really were more split personality type deals as well. And then, of course, Goblin comes back and kills Gwen, and so Peter feels even more guilty, because if he had done what he was supposed to do, or he may even killed Goblin or whatever, like Gwen would probably still be alive. On top of the fact that, he fucked up catching her, and, the whole neck snap and everything. But I think it's like that thing of like getting like kind of like how Zach gets right to Lois knowing who Clark is in Man of Steel.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's like, all right, let's just cut all that shit out and just
I always loved his explanation. He's all Pulitzer Prize winning Lois Lane's not going to get fooled by glasses. It was like one of those things, and that's what I loved about that, and that's why I'm like, Norman Osborn is not going to freaking cameras everywhere, and he's not going to like miss this, and then like when he got that whole scene, the build up to that. That I was like, please say he knows. He knows. And then sure enough, he did. I was like, thank you. I was like, all right, now I'm in. I'm definitely in on this whole thing. I'm like, okay, cool. You really grabbed me with that whole cliffhanger right there. I'm in for the next episode. So
I will tell Paul this though, because I'm not going to spoil who, but pay attention to the names of those interns that Peter meets in the second episode.
I mean, listen, that happens. That's almost. I was gonna say it when Ryan was talking about it earlier in his thing, because he was talking about all like the Easter eggs and stuff like that. I mean, once a lore is truly established in books, and then it goes to getting it adapted, whether animated or live action. Like, I mean, the CW shit. I mean, God, they did that stuff all the time, where they'd have like at least 5 different characters that is, oh, this person's going to be this is going to be that. But I wouldn't be shocked if like there's villains, there's Spider-Man allies,
I mean, that's
all this
what
stuff
you have
lined
to
up.
do.
But I mean, if they've got fucking it already greenlit till season 3, I mean, spread the
Have
seeds,
at
I
it.
guess. Yeah.
I mean,
So
it's
that makes sense.
animation. It's very easy to do. So
Yeah. I mean, look. So I will catch up more on because I've obviously rewatched like the '90s Spider-Man, especially with '97 and stuff. But yeah, I got to finish Spectacular at some point. But yeah, I've heard from most people that like the '90s and Spectacular are like the pinnacle adaptations in terms of animation. So yeah, I mean, I'd like Spider-Man '98 or like continuation of the Spectacular. But I mean, if this show's good, or at least intriguing or interesting, then because like I didn't love Cape Crusader, but I would like more Cape Crusader, and I don't know how to feel about the gender swap stuff. For me, it depends more on the story. Like, does it actually have a point to the story, or are they just trying to keep up like Penguin, right? So Penguin, like with
Cape Crusader, they made it a woman.
Well, yeah, I mean like Cobblepot, right? So like when they made it Oz Cobb in the Penguin, there was a point to that. It was to show that he was like, like he was always scheming his way up. He was never really in high society. Cobblepot is not even a factor, and then he becomes the Penguin. That's kind of the point. But the female switch, like, it didn't really matter in the Cape Crusader, not really. I mean, it was just kind of done, but it was fine. The show was still.
Funny. Yeah. What was funny about that episode too, like in Cape Crusader, is like I was like, that's why are they making him that? And I even was kind of like, okay, let's see how this is. But then when I watched the episode, I was like, Jesus Christ! I mean, she had 2 sons, and she didn't give a fuck. And it was kind of like it kind of added a little bit to it. Or I was like, all right, I can see what you guys are doing here. At least, like,
I mean, inherently, it's part of the core of who the Penguin is. The Penguin is kind of a ruthless narcissist who doesn't give a shit about anyone except themselves.
Yeah, so to have a mom just like not give almost a fuck about like one of her like her kid, it was like whoa. It was like
we should preface the kid. I think the kid had like ratted her out to the police.
Yeah,
so, like
ratted him out to the police, but it was the wrong kid she killed.
That's right. Yeah.
It was the wrong one. Yeah.
But
I don't know. It didn't bother me all that.
But I think I mean again, it's cold blooded as fuck. But it should be stated, it wasn't like over spilling coffee or something. It was.
It wasn't like that. Like the Penguin was like the main fucking villain throughout the whole show. I mean, it was still very much an anthology show.
Oh yeah, no,
I was really.
I think the most intriguing thing they did in the whole show was the reinterpretation of Harley Quinn, which I found kind of fascinating.
I was
like,
good.
okay, yeah. I mean, the fact that Joker is even in the universe, but like Harley already pre-exists before Joker in a sense. I was like, okay, that's definitely a twist.
The fact that she was Bruce's therapist too was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like that, and then I like the whole when they were doing that episode where they were kidnapping the kids. And each one of the kids was like literally named after like a Robin. It was like little Bookie. Oh, and then we got
Jason, Tim, and Stephanie.
Jason, Tim, and Stephanie. It was like I kept on going. I was like Leo DiCaprio. Every time they named him, I was like, wait a minute, that's another Robin. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, that's cool. That's cool.
He collects a whole bunch of orphans, and we're gonna put orphans in show.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, I think Spider-Man, I think it has potential. Like I said, when it comes to that little cliffhanger, that really was like, all right. I mean, I was already going, I'm gonna watch this no matter what, but I think that just totally was like, thank you for doing that, because I was like, you got to do something, and then when he got called up to Norman's office, I was like, he better know. I mean, it just immediately I was like, he better know. And then once he did, and then it ended, I was like, thank you. Yes.
Well, it just didn't. It seemed way too convenient in the sense of he saves Harry, then all of a sudden he shows up. I'm sorry, I don't buy. He's an Osborn. I don't buy for a second that he already didn't know he was Spider-Man. He just needed something to really firm it up so that he could say, I know for sure.
Get it concretely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's good because it does take some, in terms of like lore, Spider-Man, it does take some of the guilt away from Peter, but it's Parker luck. Then now we're gonna be waiting like when the actual other shoe drops, and like how does how does it pertain to something else later down the line?
It's ironic you say that because the second episode is titled "The Parker Luck."
Yeah, well,
that's true. Yeah, he actually says that in there too.
Yeah,
that's good. Real quick, as I'm not caught up at all, but the character of Harry Osborn, now is he already friends with Peter, or are they okay?
He just saves him right now.
Yeah.
Well, not only does he save him, that's his first. That's their meeting. Harry is saved by Spider-Man, and that's
the classic first, classic first like Spider-Man
Amazing
like,
Fantasy
cover.
15.
Yeah, where he's like holding somebody, like that's the shot that he's literally holding on to Harry as he's swinging.
Yep.
It's like they did that whole homage to that first shot. Yeah, so yeah, he saves him. Yeah,
cool.
So they're not friends fully yet,
Well, the thing is too is like Harry and Peter's relationship is always so complicated because there's always like, I mean, it's funny. It's kind of funny because like I think in the books, or at least by the time John Romita Sr. got involved, Peter was getting away from the Ditko stuff, and he was getting more comfortable in his own shell. He was becoming more like handsome Peter, but Harry's still kind of the nerd because they meet in college and stuff. But Harry's more the nerd, so he doesn't really get the girls the same way, basically. And then you look at like Sam Raimi's, and it's kind of flipped, where Peter's still the nerd, and then like Harry's the it's James Franco basically. So it's like So no, I mean, like, as long as you keep the core of the characters, like just always play around with that kind of stuff and just stuff up. But I think it's interesting. I mean, I know William was on here, we were discussing it. How do you guys feel about the Osborns being black? Does that change anything for you in terms of the characters? Like, I mean, does it add a different layer in the thing? I'm just curious on that.
It doesn't really bother me. I always say make it make sense, whatever. This is like, I mean, obviously when you look at the showrunner, I mean, obviously adding, and even like the theme song to Spider-Man, it's got a hip hop element to it.
Okay.
And it was just like, it's something different. I'm like, I'm just at this point, again, I just get to the point where I'm like,
just rolling with the punches.
You're telling a good story, and you have someone like what's his name, who's playing Harry Osborn, the voice. He just got nominated for Academy Award. Coleman, his last name?
Coleman.
Oh, is that the guy from
Domingo?
Yeah, the guy from Sing.
Sing.
I know. Wonder Meg saw that and loved the hell out of it. I still have to see it and stuff. But
I'm just like, what? I'm like, it's just, and I know, like, again, I know people have issues with it and stuff like that. But at the same time, to me, I'm like, I don't really care that much.
I was curious if the show was going to play into it or not, because like Osborn is kind of a self-made businessman, and like I don't know sometimes like if they were gonna play the race card, if that was gonna play a factor or not.
The first two episodes, you don't really get a sense of that. It's just Norman Osborn, So.
Okay, I actually don't mind that. I like it when it's not even really talked, like it's just, you know what I mean, like it's not brought up as like an actual like real issue. It's like, no, this guy, nope, he's just like he's smart, he's a genius. He did, he's Norman. And it's like, okay, great. So, all right, cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
No, it just doesn't matter. But we'll see what happens. But I think it's a good place to wrap up the stream right here too. Like I said, there wasn't really much else besides all the Superman controversy and everything.
Can't go a week without one.
Can't go a week without one. And what's
and
going
if
to happen?
We'll make one up like they do every week.
I know, right? It's going to be what's going to happen next week. But hey, maybe we'll get some Green Lantern little tidbits or something like that. We got a little bit this week, so but yeah, this has been fun, of course, always talking with you guys and with everything. And of course, thank you to Jordan, thank you to Seek, thank you to, am I missing somebody else? Who am I missing? Who else was on here? That's it? Seek and Jordan? Who?
I think so.
That's it. No, like it's one of those things. Like, hey, is that it? Or I think it was just 6 of us.
And Ryan.
Ryan, there it is. I was like, thank you, C. Thank you. I was like, I knew there was somebody else. I was like, there was another panel here. So Ryan, so thank you. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Seek. And then, of course, thank you to you guys. I'll go around the horn right here. Chris, what do you got to promote?
Yeah, as always, thanks for having me on. Always great to hang out with you all on Friday night into Saturday morning. You know, we enjoy it, at least on the East Coast. But yeah, you can follow me on all the socials at Chris Balga. You can catch me every Thursday night on the Giveverse Podcast YouTube channel for Marvel Alliance, 9:10 Eastern Standard Time. And you can search for that in all your podcast catchers of choice with Marvel Alliance. And this week we broke down all the Easter eggs, everything about both episodes of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Next week, 3 episodes and maybe a Fantastic Four trailer. I don't know. We'll see if that's actually true and someone screwed up and dropped it a little too early. And sorry, words are tough this early in the morning. You can catch me also on Saturday afternoons, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Brave and the Boys channel for the Organic Price Books Weekly Buyer's Guide.
All right, cool. All right, Paul. No, yeah, I know you never
same old man. No. No, I've just been traveling and stuff. Now I'm terrified to travel because apparently plane crashes are getting more common now. Apparently, so that's
crazy.
Pretty terrifying. Yeah, my heart goes out to those people. I hope everyone or the grieving families are all okay and stuff. But yeah, so I might not travel for a bit, but I am scheduled to go to Portugal next month, so that's about it. But we'll talk about that later. But no, other than that, I've just been here.
As long as you're not flying over America.
Yes. God, I don't.
Get on a boat, Paul. Just get on a boat.
Oh yeah, just take a boat. Take a cruise.
Nah, with my luck, I'd hit some sort of iceberg. Of course, there's not many.
Yeah, be the Poseidon Adventure. Yeah.
Or no, being Somalian pirates could be that. You know, it could be fun that way. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, no. So, yeah, no. Other than that, I've just been here, just been writing and stuff. Nothing too crazy.
Good.
And
keep writing.
Yeah. And you guys know where to find me. I'm at PMickey1988 on Instagram and Blue Sky, and at Paul Panhook on Vero. So yeah,
right. Cool. Phil.
Well, you guys can find me on Instagram, Vero, Threads, and Blue Sky at Unfiltered. You can catch my YouTube show on Friday Phil. You can catch me on Tuesdays on the Party Nation. You can catch me on Wednesdays on the Council of Creators. You can read my reviews on Multiverse of Color. Currently, the latest one up is Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man episodes 1 and 2. And you can also listen to my Batman podcast, The Eternal Night. We will be returning very, very soon, talking about a very specific short film starring a very up-and-coming actor who may or may not play another clown in another terrifying franchise. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And yeah. It's a little movie called Joker's Wild. We might be talking about that among other.
I think I already am.
Nice.
Among another famous 4-hour movie we've been holding off on that may or may not be on someone's shirt on this panel. Other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks, man. Always getting to chat with you.
Yeah. Always a pleasure. Thank you, guys. Like I said, thank you to Jordan. Thank you to Seek. Thank you to Ryan. And, of course, thank you, Chris, Paul, and Phil. And thank you guys for spending some time with us. And have a good rest of your, whatever's left of your Friday. Only an hour left over here on the West Coast. But have a good weekend. And, we will talk to you guys later.
Bye-bye.